All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live once again here at the St. Paul Curling Club, and we have a game in store for you. Basically meaningless, Sarah, but
Basically, both teams have unfortunately been eliminated. However, the glory, they're playing on Saturday.
Absolutely
Here for
meaningless.
fun.
Absolutely.
And a little bit of bragging
You still want
rights.
to play the game.
Absolutely.
You still want to have fun. You still don't want to be in the losers bracket.
They were 24 out of 561 people who played down to try to qualify. I would play the games I was scheduled to as well.
Absolutely. But have fun doing it. And I think this is what we're going to see here. I think we're going to see some good competition. I think we're going to see some good fun in here. We've got two teams, one here from St. Paul. This is the Betzold team. We've got Tyler Despens in the lead with Randy Peterson playing second, Jerry Schimmel in the vice position, and David Betzold playing skip. And here with the Mewers side out of Orange County Curling, man, out of California, my goodness.
At least the weather's decent for them this time.
Absolutely. It's a little bit of a mishmash here in how the setup's going to be. We have Kira Maynainen. She's going to be playing the vice position but throwing lead. We'll have Alex Eaton Solners playing second. Neil Digney in the third place, the third spot throwing stones. And then Queena Mewers as the skip for the team that is from Orange County Curling, Team Mewers.
And it sounds interesting because apparently they haven't played together as a fivesome yet. They've got an alternate, David Hurst, that may or may not make an appearance depending on the information we have right now. The foursome won the qualifier to make it to nationals. They only played for that one event. They got it together to play for the qualifier and then said they may as well bring it here. And so they added another, and seems to be a good matchup for them.
Yeah, there is a common piece of that story, and that is Mr. Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez is the one that's qualified with both halves of the team, if you will.
Gotcha.
And now Mr. Hernandez has now brought them together as this full team here. We have a guard stone out front for the yellow team, which is going to be the Mewers squad. And wow, look at that.
Just squeaked by.
Ooh, couldn't even fit a piece of paper between that there.
Absolutely. I don't know if they wanted it to be a guard or to be that front of the house, but
It
it
has
worked.
been,
It didn't hit it at all. No ticks happening here.
well, it's been really swinging out here too, depending on the type of handle that you're throwing, which is of course always going to affect the way that the stone goes. But we've been seeing some pretty big swings out here at the St. Paul Curling Club.
Absolutely, and not just here on the center sheet. I've seen teams on 2 and 3. It just goes all the way around town.
And I have to say, I mean, kudos to all these teams. I mean, look at how on point they are with their gear.
Absolutely.
Everybody's looking awesome.
Absolutely. The creativity, and it always looks nice and clean if the team matches up.
Oh my goodness, speaking of clean, look at that. The lead throwing a bomb right there at the top of the button.
Almost entirely covered, just a little bit hanging out, but very, very nice for the second stone for yellow.
Taking a look at the TV, it looks a lot closer to the button here in real life, but on top of the TV here, she's just biting into the forefoot there.
And that guard is perfect for it.
But still a great shot indeed. Great setup, and that's all you can ask for from your lead, right?
Absolutely. People like to discount the lead as, oh, well, they only throw guards. But really, it's very important to set up your entire end.
Oh, absolutely. Me and the legendary Christopher Lisney over there, we were talking about how important the lead position is. And in all reality, how important every single position is, but how the lead normally doesn't get the kudos that it normally should.
Right.
Because it's not glorious in the sense that there's no hits.
Right.
Where everybody else does get the hits, you know.
But if you mess up, you get a lot of that negative glory.
Oh, you get the absolute full effect of.
Just for the record, I don't know if I was screwing around with whiskey and stuff, so I don't know if you guys introduced yourselves. Did you?
Mr. Christopher Lisney from Terrapin Curling.
That's right.
We had not. We were too busy introducing
We just
all
got
the people
so
on the team.
excited.
Yes. So if you'd like to do that, sir, please feel free.
No, I don't, but I could. So on the right-hand mic is Sarah Betzold, and on the left-hand mic is Jason. Gosh, it's so much stress.
Pauses to check notes.
Yeah. No, I don't even have any notes. Says Clubba.
Says Clubber.
You know what's funny is like
Control
buck.
it forward.
The
Schimmel and
word
Betzold
buck
are
came in my
fading.
head, and I was like, it's not says bucka.
Yeah. Yeah.
It says club.
I've heard it all.
Card, so might as well try it.
Seskabob, Seskalablub, Sexy Bubs, yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my maiden name was Schwartzer. It was fascinating that people would add and subtract letters equally.
Oh, easily.
But there was a Schwartz Road in the town I grew up in, so
Ah.
everybody said that right. Oh,
Yeah.
Ooh,
okay.
almost got.
Almost got it.
I mean,
Nice
you gotta
shot by
say,
Randy
yeah.
Peterson. Randy's from Northfield. He got into curling because he, his wife, and another couple went on a double date for a learn to curl,
Really?
and he got the bug, and here he is.
You know, 9 times out of 10, you go for a learn to curl, you're going to have some itch that you have to scratch at some point. You just don't do a one and done normally.
Well, that's what happened. So David Betzold is actually my husband, if you recognize the name.
No.
And I signed him up for a learn to curl a few years ago. I was like, you need a hobby. Get out of the house.
Leave
and here
me
we
alone.
are. Here we are. 3.5, basically 4 years later. He has one more year left of 5U eligibility.
Trying to get
He's
some
worked
separation,
really, really
and now
hard
you
here.
found yourself with a common goal here in the curling world.
Absolutely.
I guess that one turned around on you, and not the way you
I think
really
forward.
thought it was going to. Huh?
Not necessarily. Healthy for couples to have their own hobbies.
Absolutely. But it's also healthy to have an incredible hobby together as well, which the curling world does supply indeed.
It absolutely does. Curlers are some of the nicest people I've ever met. We were in Quebec City with some of our Chicago Curling Club friends a few months ago. You know, even though not everybody's French or English matched up, everybody was just super happy to be there.
Yes.
I'm almost always happy to be there whenever there's curling. And I don't think he was happy with that shot there, though, to speak to the opposite side of happy as he gives a little tap to the ice, disappointed in his throw there. He was a little skinny on that, but it's not where
It's
you
not the
start,
worst.
it's where you end.
Right. It's only the first end. It's still early. We're just now getting to the Vice Stones. We've got time.
Here we have the third throwing here. This is going to be Neil Digney. Actually, I think they got his name wrong on the print here. It's Digger, D-I-G-R-E.
Yeah, his hoodie is just in the wrong spot.
Little soft on there, but it seems like
That's
they
when you
may
have
want a
good
high
sweepers
guard.
carrying it
Yeah.
through.
You're trying to cover up that raise, which they did do,
Yeah.
which seems to be successful. Looks like if they try to go for the raise, it's just going to jam off
You
that
pop
top
this
yellow.
here, it might go back.
As you
I
can
like
hear,
this one better.
Betzold
What hat?
said it might
Okay.
go back, and he opts to go a different route now. Looks like he's going to try and bump the red stone that's in the full 12. We got Schimmel.
Curl.
Yeah, Schimmel's a great vice.
Curl.
He is good at looking at other options, but you know,
Line,
at the end of the day,
line.
it's discussion between the back end, but
Oh, yeah.
not stepping on each other's toes too much.
Absolutely.
And a little
Looks
bit
like a good
flip.
shot. Real nice. Oh, came
Very
in right at the
nicely
end.
done.
Yeah. Totally swooped in about a half a stone and about a foot.
Curled lovely.
Here in the first end at a meeting of valor for the bragging rights in the U5 curling tournament, the national championships.
Absolutely. And if you're just tuning in late, recall that 561 teams played their playdowns, went to these spiels to try and qualify. So it sounds trite to say the journey was the important part, making it is the best reward, but absolutely doing your best and playing.
Hey,
all of
Michael
many
Jordan
days.
did not make his high school team.
He did not. He did not.
I got it.
So 5 years from now, with the 5 and under, we could see potentially
It's fine. It's fine.
Olympic stature. You never
Yes,
know.
for
You
sure.
just never know.
And speaking of the Olympics, congratulations to Corey and Corey. They have cinched their spot in the Olympics. They've punched their ticket for 2026.
Absolutely. I haven't had the chance to know Corey much, but I do know the other Corey quite well.
That's
Male Corey.
Yes, Dropkin is the coach for the Duluth team. and had the pleasure of interacting with him a little bit at last year's 5U Nationals.
Oh, yeah. Great guy, real estate guy, in the community guy, brand ambassador. I mean, all around good fella. Glad to call him my friend. Corey, congratulations. Absolutely incredible. Coming back from a hard-fought game, taking the win, and making your way into the Olympic conversation. Beautiful. Just like that shot right there.
Very
Just
nice
tapping more reds
shot.
back there. You got to love it. I love the angled tap backs there. I mean, that's the point of the game, getting your stones closest to the center, right?
Got to be good at angles. If you like pool or snooker, or if you enjoyed geometry in high school, give curling a shot.
I liked all of them.
You know?
Yeah,
Oh, well, then you know you're in the right place.
I am. I think so.
This team is actually mostly engineers. 3 of the 4 on Team Betzold are all types of engineers. So the math, the adjustments, that's
Do you
very up their
sometimes
alley.
think that the engineers overthink sometimes,
Oh,
maybe?
100%.
Yeah, I would have to say.
Especially when there's multiples.
A double-edged sword. Yeah.
For example, electrical engineers tend to work solo, but
Yeah.
civil engineers are on a team.
Yeah.
And everyone's got an opinion,
Yeah.
right? And it's
It-
being able to put those aside, come together, and come up with a cohesive idea. That's
Yeah.
what makes it really worth it.
Yeah.
What song are we singing?
I was trying to think of some amazing fun equation in my head, but it just wasn't coming to me. It might be the fantastic meal that we had at Red Cow.
Yes.
I might be in a hence a bit of a food coma fog
Makes
at the moment.
sense.
But,
A Red Cow came to Rochester 2 years ago, and just really excellent food. It's fascinating that all the different Red Cow places have very similar but very different
Yeah.
things. We actually overdosed on pork and bourbon from the Handsome Hog, also down the street.
Yowza.
Delicious.
Oh, now we have skip stones coming out here.
Oh, yep, here we go.
Queena Mewers, the skip out of Lake Forest, California, near Irvine. Some accomplishments for her, 2 career 8-enders. I've never even had one, so that's
Yeah,
absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I'd put that as first on my fun facts for
Yeah.
sure.
3 times at the 5U Nationals. Incredible. This obviously the 3rd time. 2nd time as the skip, including a 1 time making it to the tiebreaker. And 2 times at Arena Nationals. 1 time as a skip and made it to the playoffs.
Yeah, let's hear what Betzold and Schimmel are debating about now. Are they going to blow it up? Or are they going to draw around?
Let's see.
Yeah. Well, this isn't hammer yet. Yeah, I think hack. Hack gives us the best miss. So,
And if I did my math
All
correctly,
right.
Betzold does have hammer here. So while this shot is important, he does have another shot literally afterwards.
Well, you are partial. Maybe you think he has the hammer every end. I don't know.
hack and bump the
Hammer
yellow,
in
red
my
and
heart,
yellow.
number 1 always.
Aww.
I know. Don't tell him
Worst
I
case, we
said
just
that.
open that up for. Worst case, we open it up for a draw.
Shh, secrets.
Don't tell anybody, everybody.
Well, there's probably a worst case, but. Yep.
Just got to love the conversation inside of the hack, right? When you're trying to tell yourself that you are throwing the right shot. I mean, we've all done it.
Oh, 100%.
I can't tell he's blocking it up. It seemed like nice
Gotta
weights, but he might be a little wide.
Oh, it's going to have to
Yeah.
curl way. Dustbin's getting in there, trying to
Yeah.
broom it over. Ooh, might get a corner of it. Might get a piece. Oh, there we go. Curl over and
It is curling quite a bit, but yeah, he was just wide on that. It was really great weight,
close,
though. Really
close,
good weight.
close. And that's the thing. We're seeing a lot of curl on this ice, but it can still be unpredictable.
Absolutely.
When does it happen? Where does it kick in? And that's where reading the ice is really important. And that's why it's extra impressive that Mewers has played in Arena Nationals as well.
Yeah.
Because anybody that knows curling knows that arena ice is vastly different than dedicated ice.
Very fast.
Yes, very fast and very straight. Not a lot of curl. They just don't treat it the same way as dedicated ice does. So being able to read the ice and adapt quickly is quite a good skill.
That is probably why she has a lot of good rotation on her stone, because if you do have good rotation, it doesn't necessarily matter how straight it is. At least you're going to get a little bit. So
Yeah.
I think there's probably a little bit of a benefit to playing on ice like that.
Absolutely. And Despins here was also in Arena Nationals in 2022
Ooh.
and 2024. Rochester, Minnesota, where he is from, has arena ice. He wanted more experience on dedicated ice, so he joined St. Paul Curling Club here with David Betzold, who has been a St. Paul member for many years, to get more experience. So he too is a dual player.
We
There's
have
the
an
debate. Got a lot of tapping.
Yeah, we have an interesting little setup over here. I don't think it's there now, taking a look at the stones at the top of the house. If you're looking at the camera in the house, it looks like there's a yellow tap back on the right where they could, angle the red into the yellow that's sitting on the button. But if you can't see the top of the house, there's a bit of a staggered setup that it would be, it's impossible to do.
And
so
as
that's
Betzold
not there.
just called, he wants to do an in-off. So, hammer for Betzold.
Firm to heel.
So in off, give a little description for the people out there.
Oh, that is a nice, decent weight.
Oh, he's coming in hot. He's got a good, he's got a good end.
Not
too much. Got a little too much.
Almost.
Little too much of a bite on there.
As you heard him say, almost. Yeah. That's another thing for my pool or snooker people. You can hit the cue ball middle, top, right, left, bottom, and it changes the spin or trajectory. Same thing. If you want the stone to move directly backward, hit it full on. Hit it to the right or the left. Where is it going to bounce? Watching it, you saw that he wanted to bounce it off that guard and come inward, just a little off the spin.
Well, and as they say, you miss all the shots that you do not take. So sometimes there's the right one, sometimes there's the best one, sometimes there's the safe one, But what one is right?
You can only find out after it's happening.
Absolutely.
And that is the thing about curling. You could theoretically do everything right
and still lose.
And still lose, and you could have the worst game ever and still win.
I've certainly played against people where, God love them, not have a lot of experience. And just throwing the wackiest shots ever, and all of a sudden rocks just bounce around, and next thing you know, whoa, how did that happen?
Yeah, so why not try it?
Absolutely, why not is right.
And we might see some of those later in this game. As we mentioned, both of these teams have been eliminated from the finals playdowns. Maybe they'll take an opportunity to practice different shots or look at a situation differently than they would normally. Not generally seen in a nationals or a serious tournament, more in general spiel play, but it still could happen because, again, like you said, trying something different might work.
We have yellow scoring one there in the first end. That is Team Mewers out of Orange County Curling. As you can hear, the skip line is good. Weight looks pretty decent. Looks like they're going to maybe be about like a
just leave it. Weight's more important.
Midway.
Yep.
Perfect shot right there. Yeah, absolutely.
Guard.
Yeah. Mid guard, right on the center line, just off the center line now. Got that little bit of a spinneroon that sometimes the curling stones do. It's like a little magic that each stone has.
Yeah, the granite being a porous rock, sometimes the air pockets hold on to it in just the right way to keep spinning, and sometimes they stop dead. So it's not just reading the ice, it's reading what your rocks are doing.
Absolutely.
You don't necessarily have to throw the rocks 1 through 8 in order. If you notice one rock has a little more quirk than another.
Wait only.
Or a little slower running, you give that to your lead. That was Kieran Mayanen.
Here's Despin's first throw here. Despins likes to do a positive release.
I'm going to say this again.
Throws. There you go.
Manayan. There we go.
Yeah.
Manayan.
Yeah.
I should just read that because it actually looks like it's supposed to say right there.
Well, as we were just discussing earlier with our last names, sometimes phonetics helps for people.
Absolutely. Here she goes, looking for a takeout, and she says she's a little wide, trying to give a little bit of assist to help her make her way back in to get a little tap.
There's that curl.
And it looks like it's going to be a flasher, unfortunately.
Yep. Only about 2 or 3 inches of clearance. But again, being the thrower, having an idea of their weight and their release, as well as your sweepers, giving good counts and updates. The whole team is important, kids.
1,000. We have Betzold here holding the broom for his lead's second shot. Gets a little sideways coming out of the hack here. Keeps his composure, though.
Yeah, that is a hallmark of his delivery. The positive spin and the little backslide, but he does keep his arms straight. It's remarkable.
controlled chaos, maybe. Looks pretty good. He looks like he might be right there alongside his other stone. Nope, it's going to be right on the button.
Very nice.
Just passed.
Yeah,
But
Mewers
he
tried to
is
get in
hiding
there to
behind
sweep
that
it past
yellow.
the tee, and it slowed way down just enough she couldn't really get to it.
I like. Okay.
Yeah, just stopped on a dime right after the tee line there. But unfortunately, they are past the tee line, so now she has the opportunity to come right down to it and freeze to it.
Hot.
So for those of us who are not very curling experienced, granite, which is what these stones are made out of, it's a very special granite from Scotland. Look it up if you're curious
She's
about
calling
more.
off.
Granite's a porous rock, and so those air pockets can freeze to each other. If stones touch, it could make it harder to break them up later. So when they call for a, quote, freeze, it's almost literal. Ooh, very
Beautiful
nicely done.
shots.
Gorgeous.
That is their second. That is Alex Eaton Solners.
I'm back. I finished my lunch.
Welcome.
Delicious.
You look
So it
amazing.
sounds like, Sarah, you're saying that air can freeze. Can
No.
air freeze?
Not necessarily. It's the stone itself, the air pockets and
The
the porous openings.
molecules that are in the porous.
The air pockets freeze?
It's the stone. The stone is taking advantage of their asymmetric air pockets to kind of grab itself together.
Oh, so it's like hooks.
Kind of. You know
On
how
the
salamanders and
molecular level.
geckos can stick to glass? Those van der Waals forces, for those of you that liked
Oh.
biology in high school.
Van der Waals.
They're not.
Breaking
It's
out.
not necessarily suction. It's the air tension. How bugs can sit on top of water instead of falling through.
So wait a minute. Are you saying that the air pockets in the granite stones are using van der Waal forces?
No, I was drawing a
Analogy?
simile there.
Yeah.
Simile metaphor.
Similar kind of like, though it's like a suction or something.
It's not a sticky suction, but it acts like it. Okay, and we're lining
Sticky
up.
subject, though,
Yes, for sure.
whether it's frogs or porous curling stones.
Exactly.
I once curled with a. No, I didn't.
A vampire?
I
Yeah.
think he was going to say a frog.
Yeah.
Was that
No,
at
this is-
Frogtown Curling Club?
As soon
also
as I
here in
said
St.
it, I
Paul,
almost
Minnesota?
said, yeah, Frogtown. I'm interested. So I heard, I didn't really pay that much attention, like the names, but one of the team members on Betzold's rink is from Northfield. Is that what you
Yes.
said?
Randy Peterson isn't from Northfield. He plays at Dakota as well as St. Paul. He's been
So
at
it is
St.
he
Paul
drives
for a while.
up?
He does. Yep.
My wife used to. I mean, when I was dating, she went to St. Olaf, and I lived up here, and I used to drive down. It's not too bad, but I think
Don't
that'd be
clip
hard.
that guard. Oh, well,
That's not a bad thing
that's
for
what's
him
not
to
mad
have.
about
Yeah,
it. We got the hand
yeah.
raise.
Yep.
People that don't watch a lot of curling, if a hand raise or a wave gets through, it was sort of what they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get rid of that because they have two sitting there right now, and all they need to do is be able to have a run back on that, which they could have, and now they're sitting three.
Right.
So I think that was a really good move to remove that. It's not always easy to replace a guard out in the same spot that you had it before. So now this gives Betzold the opportunity to blow up the house and change the dynamic of this end. Really high guard here, it seems like it's going to be. It's
Yeah,
making its way down to the
unfortunately, it's
mid.
moving too far. eh?
Yep, it's going to curl over. Still wide open now. So back to my point,
Yep.
very hard to replace a guard where it was.
Me too.
Now it's wide open here, and I see him eyeing up
like
that angle
half.
shot.
Just separate.
Yep. Once they hit the
Or
top
even
right
here.
corner there, so we can get on the inside of that three stone that's sitting on the button. Get a little movement off of there. Keep your red stone still in play, but
Right.
get the yellow stone off of it, so then that way you have the opportunity to get it out later.
Looks like decent weight from Schimmel.
Just got to see how much it'll curl. They're curling on the
Whoa,
inside, or they're sweeping on the inside, which is going to hold
Yes.
the line.
Line. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hitting it too thin. Sorry, guys.
Yep, too thin, as he said, too thin. I was wondering,
We managed to move them out of the way.
So for those of you out there that don't know much about the sweeping world, if you're going to be on the inside of the curl, it's going to hold the line. It's going to keep the stone going straighter, longer, where the person on the opposite side of the curl will have the ability to help the stone curl in when they're sweeping. But then, of course, there's all different types of techniques. If you're just doing a push, if you're doing an actual scrub.
Oh, for sure. And then, of course, when we've got 5 years of experience or less, it's always impressive that we can read and make it happen to some certain degree. But yes, if you get really into it and start watching the Winter Olympics in 2026, you'll hear and see a lot more of it in play in different ways. Oh, nice guard to set up to protect their shot rock.
You guys will have to manage the weight. Yeah.
So, like, Betzold wants to draw in and freeze. He's thinking.
Yeah, he's thinking now. His first is to freeze, which essentially is going to take away the amount of damage that they can do.
Right.
They did already score one in the first end, and they're threatening to steal one here in the second end.
Wait only.
Looks like there's weight to it. I don't know. They're sweeping. Yeah, he's calling them off now for good reason.
Whoa.
For curl.
Yeah, way heavy now. They jumped on it a little too soon on the sweeping.
And easy for their skip to, well, it'll hang around as a biter. Doesn't mean a whole lot right now, but
sometimes those biters come back to haunt you, too.
Sometimes they do. Yes, I have seen the biter bar used 3 or 4 times so far this tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Normally you never see it make an appearance, but every shot really does count.
And so for those of you that are new to curling, when
So
you
if
do
I'm
jump
light,
on a
we'll
stone
block the
too
path,
early and
but
start
ideally,
sweeping
I think I'd
hard,
like to
you end up taking away the line a little bit, and
top 8.
you end up kind of
Top 4 is
pushing
fine
the
too,
stone
but you know,
out,
like
so
anywhere.
it takes it off its actual
is fine.
true trajectory.
What do you think is the weight?
And that might have been the case there, where they jumped on a little too soon, which made it not curl as much and went a little bit further than it should have. But we all do it. It's all a part of the game. And it's really hard to judge sometimes.
Wait only.
Absolutely. We've got pretty much a good bird's eye view up
Wait,
here
only
on the
line
second
five.
floor of the historic St. Paul Curling Club. For those of you
Historic
that
St.
don't
Paul.
know, it's been around since 1912.
Whoa.
It's one of the oldest curling clubs in the country.
Line.
And so it's really a treat to have 5U Nationals here. And nice sweeping by Schimmel, trying to keep that yellow away
still
from
go
that
here.
button area.
Just
Let's listen to that
Okay, but
discussion.
they sit 2.
if they could do that, they're sitting 1. Oh, but if I bump it, you're right. I don't think there's ever something here.
But that guard's there.
That guard's there. I think the only thing I got is this.
That's not even a shot, though.
No. I'm just trying to cut them down to 1 now.
We just don't want them to hit this.
Right, so sit here or up here, guard.
Yeah, I guess we're guarding.
I guess we're guarding their 1.
So it sounds like Betzold
If
and
it drifts
Schimmel have
down to the
decided
button, I guess
to
let it go, but
hold them to 1 for the steal instead of stealing multiple here.
Yeah, sometimes it's best to cut your losses where you can see it. Otherwise, there's the potential where you can
I hate
actually
this, but we're almost we're
create a
guarding their
bigger
1.
problem for yourself than
Exactly.
you initially wanted
There's
to
no
do.
way-
And
you can
again, it's
score
only the
it.
second end. We do have time for those of you listening.
like 12,
8
top 12.
ends is what we're playing to this time. For those of you who are not very experienced with curling, if we're talking about baseball with 9 innings. So down and back 4 different times, trying to figure it all out. Still early. We can still recover and do something different. Comes Betzold with his first skip stone.
Heavy.
Called it heavy himself, so he's letting his sweepers know that it should be all there. Could be even more, but nice
Got
and
a
grab.
curl.
It's coming down.
There we go.
They might want to get on it to sweep a little bit. Oh, they're pulling for the guard, so it's a good stone.
Not bad.
All right.
Yep. Good
There we go.
non-call for the sweep.
Looking at some of the other sheets, looks like we've got 2 that have cleared their second end already.
This end kind of sucked. Huh? This end sucked.
Yeah, I wonder if the fellows over there with the Coyote Wild,
Yeah.
if they're an Arizona team.
They are actually. Betzold here went to their home spiel as a free agent for the qualifier. Kind of networking, trying to meet people. Super
A
nice,
free
super great
agent.
club. Yes. So if you didn't have a full team, you could still sign up for that Phoenix spiel, show up. And he ended up getting some members of that home club that also didn't have a team.
So maybe for those that got the broomstick got the best of them. They
Exactly.
could fill in for them.
Yeah. And also that's good to know if you want to get involved in curling, but you don't necessarily have 3 friends that want to get into it as seriously as you do. Network, ask around, go to spiels and talk to people.
Well, I would say go to a Learn to Curl. And if you don't think that there's a curling club in your area, I would say you are probably wrong. That there's curling clubs all over the U.S. and
Absolutely.
People don't even realize there's one in Hollywood, California. Las Vegas, like places that you wouldn't even think a curling club would be.
Yes, and Nashville actually has a lovely new center, as well as Rocket City. And there's actually 2 California teams here, at least that I know of. We've got the Golden Gate team and the San Francisco team.
But if you want to take on the
Is
good
it Mewers
curling,
from California?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Give 'em
So that's
one.
3.
We don't have the fancy. Is this the fancy iPad over here?
No,
Is
I
that
have it
hers?
over here.
No, he's got the real one. So now I know at least 3. There you go.
Yeah, you're gonna have to let us know about the comments there, Christopher.
All right.
Disney.
Just the 2 of us hanging out.
Yeah, just
There's
us.
29 people
Did
watching.
you change your name?
No, I think I logged in with my Gmail from.
Oh, yeah,
A
because
century
before
ago.
it was 7717
Yes,
something.
I was lurking down yesterday. We were on the feature sheet up, and Betzold is throwing away his last skip stone to hold them to 1. That is a good decision.
Yeah, that is a.
And they keep hammer.
Yep,
So
that-
there is a little bit of strategy there as well. For those of you that aren't familiar, hammer is the last shot to be thrown.
So on
In the
that
net.
last one, I didn't have a chance. I was going to ask a question about that guard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would it have been would it have been better or worse to come right down to that rock, like bring it all the way down, so you're sitting on top of that rock, not tap it, but just get as close to it as possible?
Yeah, what he was trying to do is trying to take away as much, damage that could happen in the end. So if he does miss that and leaves it open, let's say he hits it skinny and rolls out, now they have another backing to come down to, which now they have 2 stones in play.
But I meant that one was lining up just fine. If they would have swept it harder a little bit, it might have come all the way down. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
Like-
he was taking away their line to throw another stone down to the button.
I know, I understand that. I'm just like, but being down on the rock would that have been bad? If it came all the way down?
Wouldn't have been the best, wouldn't have been the worst. And unfortunately, that is a lot of things when you're talking about calls and curling.
Right.
I don't hate it, but because again,
Right.
at the end of the day, you don't know what the ice is going to do. The longer the game goes on, the more people that are on the ice, the body heat, the people walking around, that can change the speed of the ice.
Yeah.
Where
I just
and when the
always
curl
in those
happens.
situations, it just seems like if you can pile a rock right on top. Like, I know he was nervous about tapping it because it would have caused his one to be out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I was thinking if one was right on top and they tapped it, it would have moved his in, maybe. I don't know.
That's where the whole plan A, plan B, and plan C come into play. Like, if we are a little heavy, sweep it down to it, but we want the guard just to be a safe play.
And it really does turn into chess here. You got to
Right.
be thinking 3 moves ahead.
Sometimes a couple ends ahead, sometimes.
I'm always thinking about that post-game beer.
My husband once
Chris
said
is
playing
always-
a curling game is spending 2.5 hours figuring out who buys the first round.
Chris is 3 sips ahead. It's
Yeah.
3 steps. So we had our lead. That was
Line,
Kyra
line.
Manayan.
Line.
She is playing the vice position but throwing lead. Oh, we got a little. Was that? Oh no.
All right, well,
He did throw a corner guard. I was like, whoa, did that pick something?
It was on purpose.
A little higher is better. Okay. Top 4.
Right, Mewers
your-
calling for top 4 to kind of draw behind their guard, their center guard that they've already set very nicely.
Yeah, we keep on telling you if you are new to the curling game, the top 4 means the top of the blue circle. That is a 4-foot circle. Then the white circle is the 8-foot, and the red is the 10-foot. So if you ever hear them saying 4, 8, 12, they're talking about the inner rings of the house.
They're talking about distance from that most middle point called the button. It is actually a little place in the ice where they can put a measurement tool. It's the absolute center. So if you say someone drew right to the button, they are dead center. Whoever is in the center has a point. And then it kind of takes cornhole or bags, depending on where you're from, rules. If someone has it closer than you, how many, then it starts to cancel out.
Right.
So if you're new to watching curling and scoring is a little difficult, don't feel bad.
There's actually a really incredible YouTube video out there.
Yeah.
That is the Curling 101. It's an animated
Okay.
video. It's about 2 minutes long. It's absolutely incredible. It's entertaining.
Spectacular.
Yeah. And it's like, curling, the game of
It's off. We're fine.
sweeping and stones and yelling. Something like that. It's
The
not exactly
Scottish game of sweeping
Yeah.
stones and
Right,
yelling.
Yeah.
It's what the Scots did when they couldn't golf. So
Well, I think there's a couple rough around the edges fellas that may have been outcast. And they said, you know what? We're going to go down on the river and we're just going to throw the stones down the river.
we've got all this granite around.
Yeah, fuck these other guys. Excuse my language.
No, they wouldn't. If you could understand them.
Right. Eaton Salazar's coming out of the hop there really gently.
Yes, very nice, very light. Lots of opportunity for the
Sweepers to
to-
dig in. Oh, Skip yelling hard for line.
That is the thing. If you throw it light, you can control it a little bit better, but then you run the risk of burning out your sweepers.
Yeah.
That looks nice.
And we could hear the second really
That's what wants to do a
taking
tap
some
back.
breaths there.
Those are a little high.
He's putting all the effort in. As was your lead/vice.
All right. Randy Peterson's here.
Randy
Looks a
with
little
the
heavy.
Curl,
Looks like
curl.
Betzold's calling for a curl to try and at least tap out that back yellow.
Whoa.
Maybe. Oh, we're gonna flash it. Oh,
flash
little
him in
too
the
much
pan.
sauce.
Yeah.
The more when we call for weight, if you hear them say hack or
420, but I think
board, it's
a
how
4
hard you're pushing off
might
with
be
the
okay.
stone. You're not actually throwing the stone like a frisbee,
Right.
generally. It's how hard you're pushing off and then letting go. So if you want to knock rocks out of the way, or a takeout or a peel of some sort, you tend to push off a little harder than if you just kind of want to let it float and then curl into the place where you sort of want it to be.
Line, off,
And you will hear people talk about you should not stand up immediately after your shot. You should always just stay in that position. It's kind of like keeping your eye on the ball in golf. You do not look up as soon as you try and hit the ball because it can throw off your swing. Same
Right.
thing as standing up with curling. And noticed as Peterson had stood up right away, that could have been a potential reason why he might have thrown a little wide there.
Maybe. And Peterson is very flexible and very active. He is completing 10 Ironman triathlons in his lifetime.
There he goes. He stayed down
There he goes.
in the lunge position.
Then he
now.
pops up. He maybe have self-corrected, maybe
Yeah, he
remembered
did,
that
and
from
now
his
he's
last
spot
shot.
on.
There we go.
Absolutely.
See, it really is the little things, y'all.
It is the little things.
Excellent.
Great shot.
Very nicely done. We've knocked one out, and looks like Betzold has almost swept that second yellow out. Now at least it's on the outer edge of the 12-foot. Might not come into play later as important because it's not close to the button.
Which those, again, are the ones you forget about, and they come to bite you right in the sphincter.
Haha, no pun intended there.
Right.
A biter, for those of you who aren't familiar, Jason explained the different rings earlier. That outer red ring is the 12-foot. If the stone is even close to kissing it, it counts. So when we mention a biter bar, it's determining does it actually count or not. And since it's close to the outside, it's easy to forget about until it matters.
I had a complete brain fart, and I said 10-foot earlier, so thank you.
6, line,
Calling hard for line.
hard line.
Yes.
And so you see that inside sweeper on the inside of the rock, trying to keep it going straight with that hard for line. Gonna glide through, clip the guard. Ooh, just the barest clip to make it past. And Betzold's gonna try and wiggle it a little past tee, but not much. It died in just the right spot.
Yeah, like I said, thanks to the red cow down the block there. Have a little food
I don't know if
coma.
we have
The
to
mathematics
go.
wasn't working out there.
You know, it's all
So,
right.
thank
I
you.
forgot
No.
my ruler. We got you.
Yeah, thank
Back,
you.
go
It's a
like
team
back
effort over
line.
here.
4-8-12, baby.
Yeah.
A times 3
We can hit
situation.
that back line under the button, right?
Because the button is technically 1 foot, right?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
And St. Paul has done a beautiful job on their ice. They had the ice maker from Chaska, which is one of the main, or the main Olympic training centers, I think, here.
Yes, it is.
And so they had their ice maker from there and the ice makers from St. Paul. They were planning. They did a new flood. They've worked so hard on the ice to make it amazing for this tournament. And with all the games I've watched on all the different sheets, they really have done a fantastic job. So shout out to the ice crew and all the research and collaboration that they've done just to make this ice the best they can for this event.
Absolutely. They always come correct here at St. Paul. Chaska as well. I mean, I played at pretty much almost all the clubs in the United States.
Oh,
in
wow.
Minnesota. No, in Minnesota. And, yeah, these guys really, really do it well here. And that was Schimmel, the vice there, just threw that.
Yep.
Yes.
Fun fact about Jerry Schimmel, he is a barbecue aficionado and a home brewer. He had a neighbor who was a competition barbecue guy, and he taught him all his secrets with the promise that he wouldn't use them to compete.
Wow.
So if you're ever around in Minneapolis, Lakeville area,
I think I
you might
will
be able to
now.
smell the meats.
I
Yep.
think I will be now. I'm going to have to
Follow
talk to
your
Mr.
nose.
Schimmel. Speaking of accomplishments, he said he wouldn't say he's in the game for accomplishments. He's just here to have fun, learn, and try to beat some good curlers. Aspiration is getting out
Jerry,
of their
back
pool
line.
would probably be huge.
Yes.
Wearing the
Same
patch
way.
is probably enough for him, and he'll keep it coming. But in the 5U it's pretty stacked these days, he said.
Absolutely, and Schimmel's actually done great work. He broke his wrist last fall trying out his new curling shoes, brand new curling shoes, going out to practice. Well, bam, broke his throwing hand. So he actually couldn't participate in his St. Paul League, but he wore his cast, did his physical therapy, and as you can see, he is out curling. He was also able to curl with this team to win the club playdowns here at St. Paul to be the host team. So Peterson, Schimmel, and Betzold all played league together 2 years ago, I think, and they brought the band back together along with newcomer Tyler Despins to play the St. Paul playdowns. It was club playdowns over a few months, and they went out to win the bid to represent St. Paul as the host club to host this 5U Nationals.
Peterson, Schimmel, Betzold, oh my.
I heard they actually had to curl some of those games not here,
Yes.
which I think is interesting.
Yes, so the way that the club playdowns worked here at St. Paul is here are all the people involved, here are your brackets, skips, discuss, figure out where and when, and then self-report. Those of you that are familiar with the spirit of curling, there's a lot of etiquette, self-reporting in the spirit of it. And so I know because all these clubs are popular during the season, there's spiels here, spiels there. I know Betzold had one of the playdown games at Blaine at the Four Seasons Curling Club. And here at St. Paul, maybe one at Chaska, I can't remember. It was over the course of a few months to solidify that bid.
A for absolute effort with all of that, of course.
There's Mewers with her stone.
Yeah.
Neil.
This is our first skip stone
Whoa,
here.
whoa, whoa. Let it curl. It's not going.
Lots of weight. This is
Neil.
looking like a flasher.
Neil.
They're trying to push it over. That's why you're
Might get a piece of it.
outside.
Yep, it's going to
Yep,
get a piece of
they're
it.
coming in.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
And
whoa, whoa. Nice, get it.
And it turned out to be a pretty good
very
stone.
nice
Yep.
work.
But now it leaves them a wide open there.
Yep, all the guards are cantered over to the left if you're looking at the house head-on.
I think we got to
And the unfortunate thing here is
Like
he's
even a
calling it
freeze.
right. He
Because
he
otherwise,
does have
if
to
we
sit
bump-
there.
We have to bump. Yeah. Well, we have to bump, yes. So, but it's heavy draw, like back four. Fine.
Schimmel and Betzold have agreed. They have to bump it over with a decent amount of weight.
They're calling for bump. You know, I feel if they come down to it, losing the opportunity to stick and
Back
stay.
four.
Exactly.
Bump a
Where if
little
they
bit
bump it,
back
now they're
and
going to give
sit there.
themselves room for another takeout again.
If they bump, hit, and then
Yes.
roll nicely behind those three guards that they've got there,
True. You're
that
still
leaves
leaving
Red
that
with
other
a little
side
bit of a
wide
tap
open.
up because they're alternated, but
Yep.
they only have one more stone. Well, Mewers has one more stone. All right, first skip rock for Team Betzold here. Looks like a decent weight. He's calling it wide, holding off his sweepers.
Curl.
Yeah, he's got a lot.
Schimmel's calling for curl. Ooh. Don't know if it's going to get in there.
No.
Might flash and knock out that back left biter, though, or that back right biter.
Yeah, right through the field
Actually,
goal
it's going to
post there.
miss both
Yep.
of them. Just
Oh,
the
he just got it.
littlest bit. He got
Sorry, guys,
something.
that was a bad release.
And leaving in a bad spot here. They can now cover that scoring stone up right now. They can
If they
do a guard
don't,
what she
Betzold
did.
does have a shot for LSD, which
So
is a
is-
last shot draw to the button.
Yep, she is calling a guard.
Yep, which is the right decision for her. Absolutely.
She wants it at least biting. If possible, but it's fine. I know.
She's calling for biting, which means the top of the 12-foot, the red circle.
Because again, if it's even on, it still counts. And yellow has a pretty commanding presence in the house right now. Red would need to get right in the center there to cancel things out, similar to cornhole or bags rules, as I mentioned earlier.
And you don't want to get too close because it gives you the opportunity to double them out.
Precisely.
Or too far away gives you a lot more room to draw.
And speaking
in.
of, when you said earlier, if they stand up too quickly, Mewers is still on the ground here in the perfect delivery lunge position, skipping from the delivery section. And there she is. She's up and walking over. Looks very, very nice.
It does look like a good stone. It's going to be hard. I mean, there is a potential depending on
Might be able to get
the
there with
throw.
back.
Betzold has
that-
been pretty decent on his draws this weekend.
He
We all
could
have
get
our
enough.
on and off
If here at
games.
all,
We'll
we're
see.
screwed.
Well, you're not doing draw here.
Or it's draw.
Or if he drew around, yeah, I see that yellow guard
Always
over
cut him
there.
down to 2.
Yeah,
Threading the needle is always
Maybe
hard.
1.
Yeah,
maybe
he
get to the
is
point.
talking about potential draw. But there is the opportunity to come with, like he was saying,
It's
hack
tight,
weight,
but that's
move
there.
both stones just off of
Yeah.
the 4-foot.
I think that's her shot. I just need to get. I need to outcount those.
He might
two.
be nervous,
If you
like
come
he
right
flashed the
here,
last
though,
one, and he
I
flashes
don't know
this
if
one.
I
He's
can.
given
I
up.
don't know if I get
Four.
I
back.
can't see
Right.
from here, but
If I
3 or
still
4.
here, they
Yep,
give him
it's
2.
four.
Absolutely, it's 4.
We can do this if you like it. I like this.
All the aspects that come into the
We
game
haven't
of
been down
curling.
this side for a long time. I just can't. I
And that's
can't
also
do
when you
that. I
want a
can't
vice
knock
and
that
a
in.
skip that don't necessarily agree
do
on
this. It's
everything.
probably the safest.
Hopefully trying to find a middle ground as
And
you
just
hear
try to
Betzold and
outcut those back
Schimmel
two
having a
if we're
little
missing.
debate.
Yeah, all we're trying to
No,
do is
definitely a good relationship to have when your vice can comfortably give pushback for different opportunity, different eyes versus just constantly agreeing with the skip for sure.
All relationships benefit from compromise.
Absolutely.
Good boys.
it's also good if
Draw.
the vice is okay hearing no,
Cut him down.
being like, all right, that's fine. But
Is that why you don't play vice?
yeah, I've really only done skip and lead. Dex used to say that if you skip, you should only play lead because the shots are not only, but the shots are complementary. You know, having a really good draw is.
Absolutely.
This is a really tough shot, I think.
All right.
Did he opt for the draw around?
Yeah, I think he wants to sit on top of the back yellow.
Oop.
Looks
Not
heavy.
enough curl.
Hard line. Line.
Schimmel's calling for hard line.
Oh, it looks. Oh, that's interesting.
Okay.
Well, just a little damage control.
Hold them to 2 instead of.
It's interesting how because I thought that was going to be by, but it really came in. So if they would have held that straight, it probably would have tapped that. It would have hit the back rock.
That's all understanding the ice, absolutely. And it's really hard to understand until you're actually down there to see how drastic the changes can be. And you can literally be a full second off of a sweep call, and it will greatly change the trajectory of the stone. So learning the ice often early is the best thing for a curling team to have.
What were you earlier in the game? You were saying something really. I think it might have been your Scottish accent, but it caused all the levels to go like
crazy.
Yeah, so I like brought you down, and then now I thought, oh, now you're kind of quiet, so I had to bring you back up.
So if I do the Scottish, I have to take the microphone out here
No,
and then bring it back
not
in if
really.
I'm talking normal.
Yeah, something you did earlier where you were louder.
Must have been the Scottish.
Have
thing.
you had any of that bourbon? Maybe that's what it is.
No, I think I did, but I think it's the Scottish. I was talking about the drunken Scots that made it down to the river. They were all chased out of the bar, and they had to play a game.
The St. Paul Curling Club started the first curling in St. Paul was on the river. And apparently it was covered. It was in a house, according to Bob Hedstrom.
And fun fact, the first curling club, the interior was a van down by that river.
Was it what?
A van down by that river.
That must be some reference I don't get.
Yeah, Saturday Night Live. There'll be a lot of stuff happening down by the van down
In the van?
in the van down
In
by
the
the river.
van down by the river.
I tell you what, if my daughter, her boyfriend, rolls up in a van, I'll be.
Yeah.
She has a little Beetle. There's not a lot, can't get in
You'd
trouble
have to
with
get
the Beetle.
real creative.
Yeah.
Well, we're going for the hit here right away,
You
which
put a
is
rock in. Yeah,
really
take a rock
not
out.
the opportunity that you want to have when you are 4 down. It's hard to get a good setup when you start playing the hit game a little too early.
True, but that red is a biter. Theoretically, they could try to split the house later, but
Right.
again, Mewers is good at reading and anticipating.
And it's a little harder to hit those ones on the right. So if they do go for it, it might be a miss. And then
Right.
We have been seeing a little fallout over here on the right-hand side coming back towards the club. So what, is this technically the south side? I'm going to pull out my compass here. We're going to get technical
I
here.
believe so. Because that's why we're not using 7 and 8 as much. They're the newer sheets. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh,
So
they've been here a long time.
compared
well,
to the original.
the outside wall over there is used to be a Quonset hut, so I don't think it's got quite the same level of insulation. And it's lower, obviously lower ceiling.
It's pretty much southwest towards the Jim Dexter Memorial Arena sign. Coming back towards the club would be the opposite then. That's going to be northeast. East to northeast.
Whoa!
Is that Peter? Who just
Big
threw?
yellow
Peterson?
ball. Off.
He threw a wicked northeaster.
Ooh.
You're oversweeping it.
Betzold is not happy about the action of his sweepers here. Looks like they lucked out a little bit, though, just past center line. Mewers is going to call for
It
taking
might have been the
that out.
engineers.
I think
off
she's
on
gonna,
their
like,
launches.
sit on it.
Yep, Peterson and Schimmel are the 2 other engineers on this team. So I was kind of making a lighthearted joke there earlier, but sometimes it comes into play.
It does.
Oh, interesting.
So for those of you that are new to curling,
Oh, they
they will have the
switched the ball.
stopwatches. And with the stopwatch, normally there's a few different ways that you can time, depending on if you're the skip or if you are the people with the brooms. As they lunge out of the hack, you start timing from when they hit the back line, and then once they release at the hog line. And from that, it should give you an idea of how far the stone's going to go and if you should be sweeping at
This
that
is going
moment
to
or not.
flash, might get a corner, and whoop, right on by. So red has split the house. Looks like he's going to want to put up a center guard. Giving
Yeah, now it's
Peterson-
working
yep.
out for him.
Yep.
I don't know if I like it because I'm giving something to hide behind.
Schimmel doesn't like it, but
He's,
it's something different than they've tried in the other 3 ends.
I can't say I don't disagree with him.
That's a double
Yeah.
negative.
Yeah, I think
So that
you're
means
right.
you agree with him.
Then go.
You
Yeah.
don't disagree means you agree, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
Sweep in front.
I
this
can't
has
say
been
that I do disagree
grammar
with that.
lessons here at St. Paul Curling.
No, I
Club.
appreciate that.
Oh, actually, no, it might be a
Whoa,
triple.
we're heavy.
Can't disagree. No, yeah, it's
I
double.
can't say that I
That might be
don't
it even.
disagree.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
No, it's
Can't
just
be
a
behind
double.
two.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it's a
really
double.
good.
I like this right here. I think this is pretty solid. It would be a little bit
Similar
nicer.
to the setup Mewers had last end.
Yeah, you're forcing them to make something big like a double. Otherwise, now you start playing the hit game, and you're gonna sit 3, which leaves you 1 down, which would be exact
Which is a
place
much
where
better
they
ball
would
game,
love to be.
especially going into the 4th end break.
Little down. Oh, it's like a 3, 4.
Good release. I don't know if it has enough weight.
Sweepers
It
are going.
looks like a draw.
Looks like it's light.
Yeah, very light. It's almost a.
Well, she wants to come down to the top of it.
Oh, I didn't hear that call. I thought I heard a take out there.
She said we could take it out, but
She's happy with it. We got a nice and a hand raise.
It's
So
not bad.
that's practically jumping up and down for
I would
joy
like
in
hack.
skip speak.
I mean,
Go,
if
go,
I'm him
probably
right now,
fine,
I am
but we have to
absolutely
hear.
high-fiving my
lose it.
sweepers.
No.
I mean,
Nose kills
they
it.
did a ton of work there. They deserve
here.
all the
Up there.
kudos. Almost. Almost all the
Quite a
kudos
bit,
for that
quite
shot.
a bit of
Quite
it.
a bit of kudos for that shot. Big breaths from the sweepers there. Well-deserved breaths as they rest on the sideline here, watching to see what the next move is going to be
Looks like
from
takeout
Team
weight.
Mewers.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Peel, you don't necessarily need to stick around. You just don't want to jam on it. That's the important thing. And it looks like they are going to do that right now. They're
It's hitting
certainly
it too
going to
head
jam.
on.
Yeah. So they're going to end up potentially losing that. Now they're down to 2. Yeah, worst case scenario
It's
right there,
opened up that center
unfortunately.
yellow. However,
But now they have a chance to put
Mewers
another
is likely
yellow
going to
in.
call the guard,
Yeah.
which would be the right call. That yellow's in a beautiful spot. Keep it there. Just goes to show curling is a game of millimeters, not even inches.
Oh, so many things.
I love it when we get English units and metric units. I was just thinking about. I
It's
wonder if
literally just us, the
I-
entire rest of the world.
Yeah, I wonder.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody's ever thought about changing the 12-foot to whatever that would be.
Well,
3 yard foot,
meters.
3 yard. Oh no, that's English.
Then we'll be weighing things in stone,
Come on.
Well,
which
speaking of stone and
would
weighing,
make sense because here we go,
You're doing great. Keep going.
and
Nice.
they're
trying
going to
to
stick
do that.
around.
Yeah, they are going to stick around.
Oh, now it's flip-flopping over here.
So strong.
So, question. How do you measure weight,
Good job.
right? When we're talking about weight when you're delivering a stone. So for those of you that are new to the curling world, when people say, what's the weight? That means how much effort you should put into pushing the stone.
I'll take this question. There's just 2 answers. It's a draw or a hit. That's the only. You want to hit it or are we drawing?
But how do you measure it? There's so many different
Well, it's your
draws.
subjective report.
well, I'm
right?
just saying that's my skill level.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to draw?
And that's where practicing comes in. I know that nowadays they've got lasers that can measure your splits and the rotation of the rock and just doing it over and over again. And you have that muscle memory. This is what this feels like. This is how hard I have to push off for this.
Like I said, like they're
So,
in
yeah,
sports,
And
there's
then
a,
reporting that to your skip.
There's
so
a
that
language.
They know.
Yeah, it's like playing bridge.
Mm-hmm.
You
but it's
gotta
not like you have a speed limit detector that you can use for like baseball. That's a 98 mile
There's
an hour
no
pitch.
cop with a
No,
radar
sure there
gun
is.
over
That's a
there saying,
timer.
"Oh,
You
it was
time
a little
it."
heavy, you guys."
But that's
It's the hog-to-hog time.
which is subjective depending on if you push the stone a little bit.
Not
depending on
hog-to-hog.
when your thumb.
Not hog-to-hog. It's not subjective.
No, but when you're the sweeper.
No.
Yeah. Or
I
when,
thought you were trying to say like what's the language? Like I get kind of confused between like control, normal, takeout, like what all those different languages mean.
Yeah.
I usually just say I don't have that kind of fidelity.
So normal is your normal takeout weight. Control is
Just
just
a
dialed
general
down a
push
little
off.
bit. Yep. And then
Up weight is up.
up weight is high, and then peel is your give it the gusto.
Yeah. Parking lot weight.
Yeah. So that's why normally it starts with a hand. So you're gonna have control down here, normal,
Yeah.
up, and then peel is top of your head.
Generally, but then some skips have different things or secret codes, kind of
Right.
like baseball
Pulling
teams.
on the air.
You know, I know
Yeah.
a guy that'll
Grabbing
tap
the
his
nose.
belly, like it looks like he's calling for a center guard, but he really wants you to draw around. And that's where teams that play together a lot, I won't give it away, I don't want to give away his secrets, but teams that play together a lot could possibly benefit from that.
I don't know
Again,
how,
in the
though.
5U Nationals, well, you don't want everyone else to know. The hard thing about curling is the skip is yelling down to the other end, and the other skip can hear you.
Yeah.
Unlike
but you're
chess where
still
you're
doing the
thinking through
shot.
everything
Yeah,
in your head.
Your shot's not going to change no matter what. It's not like you're doing a
Right.
trick play on somebody.
Like
Yeah, but especially if you're playing against a team who's not as experienced, perhaps, and
you
can't
might not
think
want
that far ahead.
You might not want to share
Strategy.
2 or 3 shots ahead
Yeah.
for
right,
sure.
Right.
But regardless if they're doing a fake
Oh, we've
call
got
or
some
not, they're gonna-
chuckling going on between Manayan and Mewers in the house here.
What are they doing?
We're having a a little gaggle giggle over here. Someone made a great suggestion. Let's listen in.
Let's check the time.
Well, and it always feels good when, you're up 3 and you have one sitting in the house and, there's only 4 stones left. So
It's pretty interesting how this end flip-flopped.
yeah, absolutely. We had 3 basically in linear line across the house, and now all gone. We got 1 sitting on the left-hand side here. It's the 5th stone.
Right, and speaking of all the giggles happening in the house here, Queena and Kira, so that's Manayan and Mewers, have played together at 2 Arena Nationals and 1 5U Nationals already. So they know each other really well, and they're able to have a good time while having some good curling.
I think if you're not having a good time while curling, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly.
They also have a Seattle and Utah curler on there, which is pretty cool.
Having a little looseness on the ice, I think, is very important. You have a little bit too much tension.
At the end of the day, it's supposed to be fun, especially a game like this.
Well, I think you're better on your game when there's a little looseness. There's too much tension. It causes, I think, a little too much anxiety and an unnecessary pressure.
I would say that probably depends on the person because some people thrive under that kind of pressure.
That's true. Like
But
Ace
for
Ventura.
me, I like it to be zen calm. Like we're in a temple. We'll enjoy it.
Some people need a hype man. I remember last year when Betzold played for 5U Nationals at Chaska with he would call it a Frankenstein team. The skip was from Chicago Curling Club. He was from St. Paul. They had someone from Peachtree in Georgia, another from Chicago, and their alternate was from Charlotte. And
Bzz.
the Charlotte guy was definitely the hype man.
Chris, I got to ask you, let's
Yes.
get some love from these commenters on here. Is there any conversation that
There is
we
no
can-
conversation.
Everybody's sleeping. 25 watching now, and one of them is me. So
Hey, one of you
that doesn't
24
count.
out there, we got some answers to those questions out there. If you have any questions about the game of curling, the St.
Or
Paul
life.
Curling Club,
We could do life as well.
Sure.
It's
My-
Saturday
yeah.
afternoon.
My
We've got our
experience-
bourbon. We've got our comfortable chairs.
Yeah.
Ask us anything.
My exper-
AMA.
My experience is that people that are watching streaming curling know more than,
Yes.
yeah.
Be nice. It's my first time commentating.
No, you're doing fantastic. Yeah, no, you guys are great.
Anyone that was watching the feature sheet
Well-
yesterday around noon, I had a lot of opinions in the comments, but I did not come upstairs because that game, quote, mattered, and I didn't want to seem biased. Since we're here for fun, Jason was going to be all by himself, all on his lonesome. He was the only one
So
slated.
they're in the top half.
I decided to save him.
I mean, we could drop
Thank you.
behind it.
Appreciate that.
I don't
Cheers
want
to you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, could hear the clink. I love
But
that.
I will say, Chris, you can't assume.
It
could be.
Anto
it
is
could be
asking, is curling
18.
real? For now,
Yeah, see?
Yeah, there we go. Now we're starting to get into some existential. Is anything real?
I did say ask me anything.
Like I oftentimes
Whoa, what
wonder.
is going on here?
That's not gonna work. Never
Why are they
mind.
taking out their own stone?
I think they were trying to take out the red stone, and it overcurled.
Here we go, chat. If a tomato is a fruit,
Yeah, but they were
does
calling
that mean
hard on
ketchup
the
is a
sweep,
smoothie?
though, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
Oh, excuse me. What was that? What was the
Why I
question?
was like, I wanted more ice. But
is curling real?
because
So then I
tend
decided to be funny and ask if a
Yeah.
tomato is a fruit, does that mean ketchup is a smoothie? Get in
Absolutely.
the comments.
Well, it depends on how the tomato was mashed. If it was blended with some ice, then
Well, yeah.
yes, it would be a smoothie.
Right, because, a smoothie is what? A fruit, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of juice, right? And for my limited knowledge of ketchup,
You can't forget about the protein, though.
no,
Yeah,
no.
inside the smoothie, there's always protein.
Oh, you're right, Arnold. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You
Come on
can't be
now.
the Terminator.
Come on now, let's get back to the curling here.
Here's Betzold with his skip stone, last stone, hammer stone.
Betzold throwing
Can
it down
he
there.
draw in to get one? I would have to measure the yellow and the red right now in the 12-foot. I can't tell from up here or the TV.
He came up a little light, but I have
no.
to say he looked like a stoic marble statue coming out of the hat.
So we clip that guard, and now the Vices have to. Oh, red is on the board with 1 point. The Vices agree. And so Team Betzold is now on the board. They are still down, though, 4-1. However, coming out of the fourth end into that break, still works.
Well, and this is where the game can greatly change. You come in, you chat, you settle it down, you move forward. I mean, you're only down 3.
So I actually I asked ChatGPT about whether or not curling was real, and Anto, who's been relatively active in kind of a quiet, snipish sort of way.
No, she's great.
I don't know who that is, but
if it's the Anto I'm thinking of.
no, I'm just saying
She's
that that's the
wonderful.
style of the like just these like kind of lasers. Anyways, so ChatGPT asks, "Is curling real?" It says, my friend, if the stone slides and the sweepers sweep, then reality itself bends in its path. Perhaps it is the only true sport, one where precision, intention, and the chaos of ice coexist in perfect harmony. In curling, we do not merely play; we become.
Wow. That's true. We absolutely become curlers
Yeah.
in the game of curling.
Feel the curl.
So is
be
you know
curl.
Anto?
Yes, if it's the Anto I'm thinking about, we had the pleasure of running into them at 5U Nationals last year on Team Parks, I believe. And curling is a pretty small world. Not even 6 degrees of separation, more of 3 or 4. If you know someone, they probably know someone of someone. And that happened here. I have a friend, Emma, who curls out of Peachtree in Georgia, who also knows Anto, and then it all kind of mingles in together. So if you're friends with one person, congratulations. You've just got 10 more friends, whether you've met or played together or not. And it all is in the spirit of curling.
Sometimes not friends. Sometimes people aren't nice either, too.
Sometimes.
Yeah, let's list the people we don't like.
No. Boys, be nice.
I'm going to list 3 people,
No,
and then I
where's
want.
the mute button on your mic? I've got the foot mute on mine.
I'm in charge. No
Yep.
mutes. Let's start by listing the ice makers in the Twin Cities, and we'll rank them.
Yeah.
I'm out of that
So
one.
Dean Gemmel was on the very first draw, and I told him that what I wanted to ask him is I was going to get a list of all the curling clubs of all the all the teams that are playing in the U5, and I wanted him to rank them by who's the biggest pain in the butt. And he said, "Nope, I'm not going to do that."
Smart man.
We're
He
going to
also-
have to check these. Sorry,
go on.
Christopher, we have to cut you off here because we're going to have to check these gummies. They might be laced with
We've
an
got
enhancing agent.
not the gummy worm.
They got gummy
barter.
worms down there.
Well,
are
I know
they going
that
to swap out their player, too?
Team
That's-
Betzold has been a big fan of the Nerds gummy clusters.
Oh, yeah, my
And
daughter
then
loves
there's
those.
gummy worms. Maybe these guys are onto something.
Oh, there is only one Anto.
They're in the yep. I know it's her. Incredible.
I'm going to jump off here and be back momentarily.
Yes, I
hope
think we're
you
going to
two
take
have
our
a
break with their break.
Oh, are we?
Break, yeah. Well, I guess I should
Christopher,
go say
listening,
hi.
are we going to take a little break here?
Sure,
from
that's
the
cool.
live feed?
All right,
All right.
everybody, 5-minute break. Go to the bathroom,
See
refill
you
your
soon.
drinks.
Hey, send the link on to your family members and friends. Let them know what they're missing out on here today, this national championship. See you soon.
All right, looks like the players are back out after the fourth end break.
With mine? Thank you. Thank you. I also agreed with my call.
Mewers leads Betzold 4-1.
Yes. Thank you.
Standard center guard call.
Yeah.
I really like the bear and the skyline on their jerseys. They have matching coat and underneath, so it's full set. I don't know if that normally is what happens, that you get a full set.
Definitely in there.
Seems expensive to me.
They subbed their third out.
I'm not sure if they did that on purpose, but they always say after the mop it's a little faster. Mewers is going to try to get rid of that, keep it clean.
Somewhere in between there, yeah.
Oh, look at that. We just did the normal and down weight or whatever, or control weight. Got to see it in action.
You could hear her calling for control.
Oh, yeah, she did the arm thing, too, that Jason was showing.
Don't whoa!
Yes!
Don't whoa.
Hard!
Oh,
Get
it's
that
moving. It's
corner.
curling over.
Oh,
Don't listen to Kara.
maybe like 2 sheets of paper there.
It's hard to tell from this angle. Like you're nice, you've been like right on top.
Well,
So
join us. I don't bite much.
No, I can't.
I had a snack.
The cord doesn't fit over there.
Oh, this is true.
Yeah. And when I have 3 people, I like being on the soundboard so I can turn up the skips.
If we
on
don't
and off.
hit our mute button, you can hit it for us.
That's right.
Looks a little
mind if we're
heavy, but Betzold might want it to draw in.
I think he wants a guard.
2-3.
Guessing.
Let her die. I don't want it to flow too far.
I missed it if Dustbins did a positive
Whoa.
release or not, but I know that has been messing with
just
some of
finish.
his guard placements lately. Very nice stop there. Oh, perfect cover for that red lurking in the forefoot on the edge of that 1 foot.
Speaking of lurking,
Top 4 right now, right?
here I am.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Nice
I
left
missed
leg
you.
lunge on that.
Me, Jason C., a.k.a. Jason Says Clubba, along with Ms. Sarah over here. She is the wife of the skip that is out there, Sarah Betzold,
That's me.
and of course, Mr. Christopher Lisney.
Before anyone complains,
Girl,
both of these teams have been eliminated from the final playdowns.
Why would they
This
complain?
is just for fun.
I heard no
Well,
weight
you know,
calls
having
on
the
that.
wife of one of the skips on the team could be seen as
Yeah, but I
favoritism.
heard no weight call.
I think you're doing a pretty fair job. There might have been a few hints of it in there
Maybe.
earlier.
We should find out in the chat if there's anybody that's Mewers fans, and then if there aren't, we might just go full on.
What'd you get?
Full on, just destroy
No,
him?
no.
Like,
Gentlemen,
just
that is
complain
not
about
in the
every
spirit
single.
of curling.
Well,
What is it?
there
Number
is-
4. Number
there is
4
no
on the
spirit in
rules.
commentary of curling.
All's fair in love and commentary. Got it. But for those of you who
Whoa.
aren't aware, rules
Curl
of curling
everything.
has a lot of etiquette.
All right, well, Anto's queen.
That
is
is true.
Queen of Fan, and Jay, who's got the best
Yeah, both,
name
yeah,
on
both, yeah,
YouTube.
both.
Jay, I think the best jerseys right now might be in the running with Nashville. They're purple jackets with the piano keys on the inside collar and on the hem are just striking a great picture.
I like the other Nashville one too. The gold.
The blue and
the-
gold is very, very cool.
with this.
I think they should do one with guitar strings down the center zipper. I don't know.
I have to say my favorite one that I have seen so far are the incredible Northern Lights
Yes.
jerseys that I saw. They're beautiful. They got the all black and they're just popping with the greens and the purples and the blues and the pinks.
How about the Rocket City ones that have the space
big ol'
shuttle on the
rocket.
back?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
It's
They're
over
right
on
over
sheet
there, over
one.
on sheet 1, as you see
Oh,
them
yeah.
walking towards the end there.
I like the
Although I'm-
Velociraptors too, but I
Oh,
I
yes.
like the story in that team.
I am partial to the Rocket City because their minor league baseball team is the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And for those of you that aren't on the internet or aren't aware, raccoons are often called trash pandas. So their mascot is a little raccoon poking its head out of a trash can, and it brings me much joy.
Nice.
But no, Betzold here was at one of the qualifiers with a friend of his to try and qualify her team for the 5U National Tournament at Rocket City. And he's had nothing but great things to say about their hospitality. And even though they're a young club, They've got the old spirit of curling down. Oh, Betzold is calling for curl very urgently here. Sweepers are tippity-tapping along.
Well, as you were saying, I'm going to dovetail and say you capture more flies with honey than vinegar, right? So in the curling world,
Yep.
you know, have some sweetness, have some swagger, have some love.
And we do have some fans in the chat. Welcome. Now we've got 31 watching now. So
Holy rigatoni, we've almost doubled our count.
Jason, I
Incredible.
disagree about that honey vinegar thing.
Play nice,
Because
kids.
the best way to catch fruit flies is to use cider vinegar with a little piece of plastic and some holes in it, and they go in there. That's what I use to kill all the fruit flies at our cabin.
Ooh,
So
okay, she got 2.
that's not honey. That's vinegar.
Yeah, so the honey brings them in, attracts them, and brings more. Where the
So we had
vinegar just
Kills
kills
them.
the one that comes. Yeah, so no vinegar.
So now Betzold has
Honey,
a
we want
decision
more,
to make.
not less.
Hang on, guys.
No,
Betzold
bees
has a
are
decision
scary.
to make. They just hit the 3 cluster that Red had, moved one out, moved one over into the 8-foot. One is still hanging out in the 1-foot. The one in the 1-foot is kind of guarded by yellow there, but they could do a tap up. So Betzold's calling for a,
He's gonna
well, based
draw
on the
in.
delicate weight that Schimmel just went through, definitely a draw in. Try to replace that cluster that he had going
It's
before.
not
If
a
he can
horrible
freeze.
thing to have another stone between your scoring stone right now, too. So having
Absolutely.
another guard in play.
They need to steal
Yeah,
at least 2.
and especially, you know, as kind of, I wouldn't say earlier, about midway through here, having that protection.
All right.
That's a great shot.
That's a nice lineup there.
Yeah, very good.
No direct shot to the center stone. Got to curl, got to draw to some point to get to it or mess with it. All right, not a lot of chit chat here.
Well, and to get the
She,
double,
Mewers
yeah.
has her idea and she's calling for it and they're ready to go. Remember, curling is also a timed game. There are timers downstairs, kind of like the shot clock in basketball or in baseball. Each team has a certain amount of thinking time. When the stone is released and it's in play, the clock isn't running.
Looks like they're going to do a hit on the outside stone and try to roll in for a potential double or at least just get some
I
movement.
think it's a little
but,
too
yeah.
head on. It just stopped dead in the 8-foot, but it is holding red to 1 right now. But this is only the second vice stone for Betzold here, Team Red.
For those of you that are newer to the curling space, if you've ever heard in-turn or out-turn, in-turn is always a clockwise motion of the stone rotation, and the out-turn is the counterclockwise. I actually had a few years of struggling with that. I'm like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Just, you know, tell me which way.
Well,
Is
'cause
that
if you
true
throw
for
it
lefty
straight-
twos?
Yeah, if clockwise or counterclockwise.
Does that work same for lefties?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because there's only one
The
clockwise.
clock only goes one way, my guy.
No, but in-turn, out-turn. Is the
Yep.
in-turn always?
Yeah, because it's always the
Because
rotation
it's
of the stone.
towards, it's, you know, to the left or to the right.
All right.
Yeah, it's always the rotation.
I
of the
hate
stone.
that term. I can't think that way. It's just starting to click in after like 15 years.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do a little work here, and I'm going to come back to you and confirm whether or not you're right or wrong.
I'm absolutely right.
He's on the Google machine now.
I struggle with this for years myself.
I have to act it out. So out turn.
You got to hold your hands in front of
Well,
you
they're
and
gonna
check which
blow
one's
this
an
up here. We
L
got
and
a
which
hot
one's not.
stone
All
coming
right,
in
here we
here.
go. That is takeout
out
weight
turn
for
is
sure.
counterclockwise.
Sweeping for line.
Yeah, I think you're
Boom.
wrong. Out
Okay,
turn on
nice
the left
work.
hand is
Red
clockwise.
is still shot, but it's not as buried
Yeah.
as it was. Some of us are focused
go
on the
wide to
game,
get around that.
boys.
Yeah, but
Well,
I
it's
think
not-
you're
it
wrong
dries
about
late,
the left
so-
and right
I mean,
clockwise thing.
I don't
All
mind
right,
taking
cite your
this,
source.
just sitting here.
No,
I'm a
just do it.
scientist. I'm a
Just-
scientist.
just-
Cite your source.
Just
If we
do an
crash
out
here, sit here,
turn
I
with
don't
the
mind
right
that.
hand, elbows out.
No,
Is
but
that
that's
the-
where the
is that the
confusion
best? Is
is.
that the
It doesn't
worst?
matter
I'd rather
about
be
what
counting-
way
Yeah.
your hand turns, it's what way the stone is turning. In turn is always clockwise. Out turn is counterclockwise.
I thought it was where your elbow
Got
goes.
him.
Nope.
Is that just for the righties?
Top 4.
All right. Well, I still don't believe you, but
Okay.
it's okay because I don't use that term.
We've got a 4-1 game. Yellow in the lead. That is Team Mewers, curling out of Orange County Curling Club. And we have Betzold, your skip now throwing his stone, looking to draw in. He's looking to steal.
Line.
And
he's
he has a
sitting
great
one right
opportunity
now.
to sit 2 here. Looks like he has a good
Does,
weight.
but Yellow still has, Mewers still has that tap up here on the right-hand side. If they hit it just right.
Got to be careful on the broom.
That's high.
You don't want to get back too far at the tee line.
These guys sweep in front.
All right.
Otherwise, you're just giving
So
them
we've
something
got
to draw down
top
to.
4, bottom 4,
Okay. I yelled at
kind
him.
of flanking the button there.
He's got a big problem with
We're
sweeping
talking
one
it over
side.
now. There was a lot of happy jumping around when they were 4 up, but now
Serious time.
Yeah, now it's
Big
time
brain
to start
time.
thinking about it because the game can swing real fast.
And again, you know, even though it's not
flicking the arrow out of my
for a
hand.
playoff spot necessarily, you know,
if I hit
pride
the
is
broom or not,
still
but it looked like it
still
was
a
about to
thing.
dive.
Ah.
Okay,
So-
Gary Middleton says take it from a lefty. They differ depending on the curler, an outturn or an in-turn. So the good news is nobody's wrong.
No,
the bad
actually,
news is
no.
nobody's right.
No, Jason, you're wrong. According to ChatGPT,
Oh, we're going
the
to trust
definitions depend on
ChatGPT
whether the
over
player is
normal
right or
people?
left-handed.
Absolutely not. Jail.
yeah, and you know why it's called that?
Right to jail.
Think of it as the direction your hand turns, inward or outward
Well,
when
no,
you
that
deliver
can't be
the stone.
standardized
No.
across all people.
Yeah,
It has to be
exactly.
No,
standardized
it
across
is
every
standard.
curler.
Right-handers have one, and left-handers it's
So
the
just like
opposite.
left-handed people need special scissors.
No, it's
Right.
just the in-turn
Same line.
spins the opposite direction
Or a
for
little wider.
lefties.
Oh, Jason's over here
think
on
wider, actually.
theinternet.com.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
thought I knew what I was
Light.
talking about, and then I don't like to present it like I know what I'm talking about, but I do. In that case, I think. See, I also
You having
said
trouble spelling there? You
Top
want me
4,
to take
top 8.
over this
No.
delicious Bib and Tucker small batch bourbon we've got
When
going?
a curler is releasing
Top
his or
12
her
is fine,
shot,
too,
he,
as long as
she
it's full
asked by the
12.
skip to put a turn on the rock for a right-handed person, and in turn is
Here
when
goes
the
Betzold
turn of the
with
rock
his
is
last
very gently
skip
in the
rock here.
clockwise direction, just as you release it. So
So
they
s-
do say right-handed turn.
Got it.
yeah.
An out turn is when you turn the rock gently in the counterclockwise direction as you release
When you
it.
turn your hand into the center of the ice, in turn. And on
Yeah.
the left-hand side, it's the opposite turn, opposite
Take a
rotation.
look. Take a look. Whoa.
Oh, we've got some yelling. Sounds a little hot.
I like that I taught you something, Jason.
I don't know if we did, though.
Jerry, move your broom.
Are you one of those types that can't change your
No, not
your
that.
facts?
No,
Man,
not
you
that.
know, if something
Just like what
drastic
she was
happens,
saying.
hang on, boys. If Mewers doesn't get something just right, Betzold could steal 3 right here and tie up the ball game.
This would be absolutely incredible.
That would be insane.
I
Now,
would-
she's
I would-
very
I
good.
would-
She
I
knows
would
what she's
love
doing.
to
But
see
as
it.
we've all talked about, anything can happen in curling.
Well, there is a
So stop arguing for 5 minutes and let's focus on this shot. Because this could change the tide of the game either way.
There is a nice
a lovely
run back
pocket.
that they have out there out front.
Mm-hmm,
There is still a curling opportunity in there, a draw opportunity in there as well.
Yeah. Because they're kind of surrounding it. They've left her a lovely pocket.
Yeah. I think she's opting right
Looks
for the
a
draw.
looks a little heavy.
Where is it?
It does look a little heavy, but it could curl right over.
Line's fine, curl if
I
you
do like the
can.
choice instead of the run back. Run back.
It's a safer option. Oh,
You-
I
you-
think she's got it.
Hard!
It's looking good.
Hard!
Has to curl quite a bit
Boy.
still.
Hard! Give it everything you got. Come on. Hard!
Talk
Yeah.
about giving it to your sweepers.
Wow.
Wow.
Real nice shot.
Nice work. Well,
The
Betzold
backboard
set up
was
a hell
there.
of an end, but this is an example where hammer really does matter.
Absolutely.
And having your draw weight mastered
yellow.
really does matter. And with the experience on Mewers' resume here, with all the 5Us she's been to and all the things she's competed in, she's got that dialed in.
Well, it also shows the importance of playing above the tee line.
Dude,
Otherwise, you have
that's
people
sweet.
have backboard, you have something for them to come down to.
Everybody gets nervous
Just give me
seeing
the feeling.
that, oh no, we're past the tee.
Nice sweep.
The other skip can
Nice sweep.
mess
Please
with
don't
my
go.
rocks. That's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
I know, but you still need to sound it.
Oh, and the giggles are
Okay,
back.
where's that? Everybody
Yay.
did a good
Yeah,
job.
that's
Smiles,
that
high
anxiety
fives.
of coming back to things could have been really bad real quick. But she came in and saved the day.
Which is, as David Betzold always says, the skip is expected to make the hero shot.
Absolutely. That's why you're the skip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 3.
Gotta dish it. If
Four,
you're gonna
five,
take it,
five.
you gotta
Okay.
dish it. And if you're
Well-
gonna take it and say, "Oh, so and so should have made that shot," you gotta be able to make it yourself.
That's the double-edged sword of being the skip, and that they don't always want to take.
Right.
When they do right, they love the glory, but when they do wrong, it's like, somebody messed up before.
Exactly.
Put me in that position.
It's like
Right. Well, my
3.
sweeper's
No,
block.
Yeah, right.
No, it's a lot of weight.
No, shout out to our friend Justin Canfield. He is a beast sweeper.
Beautiful.
Arms like iron. And that was a beautiful draw from their vice/lead. Very tippy top border of the 4 and 1 foot. It's not a guard, so the free guard zone is not in effect, which means the no tick rule is not in effect. And it looks like we're going to try to take that right out. Despins is going for a decent weight. They're calling for line
clean,
here.
yes.
Or they're trying to do a
Line.
hit and roll, maybe. I don't know where they'd want to roll to.
Any roll.
Any roll, Betzold says. All right. Fine. For those of us who aren't very experienced in curling, I just mentioned the free guard zone and the no tick rule. Basically, a lot of our professional curlers got really good at messing with these tiny, tiny things to make the game. I think the official term used by World Curling Federation is less exciting, where people were just knocking things out immediately and making it for easier scoring.
Oh, yeah.
The first 5 rocks, if they don't enter the house, you can't knock them out.
Beautiful.
Yep.
That's called the free guard zone. Leave it alone.
Thank you. Good save.
The no tick rule, if someone puts up a nice center guard on that middle line on the sheet as you're looking at it here as it comes through the button to that quote T that we keep talking about, if you move your opponents off of it before 5 guards have shown up, before their leads have thrown all 4 of their guards total, they get to put it back. The skip gets to put it back wherever they want.
Line.
Unless
yes,
they
sweep,
don't,
sweep,
because
sweep,
that can
sweep,
also
sweep.
be an
Yeah, line, line,
advantage.
line.
And I agree. I think it's good. It makes for a better game, more strategic game.
Got to think harder. Yep.
And a lot more technique and challenge. So it makes the game better all around, not
Exactly.
only for the viewership, but also the players.
It's just like when the MLB implemented the pitch clock fairly recently. I think it's been 2, maybe 3 years now. Somebody in the chat correct me if I'm wrong. It's still pretty recent, the pitch clock, so that batters aren't taking 50 million years to take their step out of the batter's box and the pitcher going through every single sign they have.
Right.
Makes the game move a little bit faster, makes things a little more exciting.
I agree.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, we've got the arm up and the tilt from Mewers. She does not like the sweepers
Yeah,
even
it's
thinking about
outside.
sweeping it. Seems to be correcting for line. They're going to hit it right on and then stop. No roll, though. Just a straight transfer of kinetic energy.
So going back to the in-turn, out-turn, no, I don't mind being corrected. The thing is that's weird to me is why would there be a difference in the naming rights? That's like a left-handed pitcher in baseball, to take the pitcher analogy, and a right-handed pitcher, like saying one is a screwball and one's a curveball. When they're both turning the same rotation, it just should be called the
It's
same
not
thing.
describing the direction of the. It's not saying like it's not describing counterclockwise or clockwise. It's describing whether or not you're turning the rock into the center of the sheet or out of the sheet. That's the description isn't. It's like it isn't meant to describe the rotation. I mean, it is kind of, but yeah. And so throwing into the center of the sheet for a lefty is the opposite rotation.
Well, I mean, an in-turn is clockwise and an out-turn is counterclockwise. So, yes,
For a-
the left-handed
for a
person.
righter, for
so
a
the
righty.
left-handed person would have to flip that in their own head, but the skip is still calling for the stone to travel in the same way.
But they're not calling for an in-turn, like it's.
Yes, so that's when the skip has to know their team and know how they deliver and how they push off and call
Well-
for the right thing. But they want the trajectory to follow.
I just
the
throw
same
where the
general
broom
path.
is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's all that matters. Your skip or your vice puts, or your skip puts that broom down.
I mean, we're talking about a
You aim
bunch of
towards
Irish
it.
people.
Thank
that
you,
were,
Gary.
that
I'm,
were-
I'm not a lefty, but Gary, you're the wisest person in the last 10 seconds.
I think it's the
He must be drinking a
beverage
bourbon.
drinkers of the Scottish that
Middleton's
decided
Irish.
to say.
Yeah, I think one of the
No, it shouldn't be that way.
either
should
mayors
be
or
this
governors of St. Paul or Minnesota got in trouble a few years ago by saying the streets in St. Paul were built by drunken Irishmen.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because they don't quite make sense. But listen, if you've ever driven in Boston, you know that really doesn't make sense. But that was built by cows walking along, not necessarily the Irishmen themselves. All right, nice sweep for line. Nice takeout, barreling down the center line. Just pop, knock out that red. Oh,
Good shot.
people are dropping stuff over here. All right, Schimmel is up on Team Betzold for his Vice Stone. Yellow is sitting one right now. We are playing the hit game. One of my least favorite. I put one in, you take one out. I put one in, you take one out. Yes, it does have its strategic ideals.
Yeah.
However,
It's boring to commentate.
There's mine.
oh, and we're going to flash.
He's going to flash.
Schimmel had a little too much sauce on it, and boom, tisk. All right, yellow is still sitting one.
I knew I was going to miss.
Red does.
said
I
he
knew
knew
I
he
was
was
going to
gonna
miss.
I had a feeling
And that's
I
the other thing, where as you're delivering, you don't stand up right away. It is your job to also talk to your sweepers and tell you it's light, it's heavy,
It's wide.
and then it's wide or it's narrow, and then the skip hears that, reads off of it from the other end of the ice. That's where the communication is really important too.
That's what I say, the make or break of any relationship, whether it's personal or professional, communication.
Okay, I think it's a 4. Okay, 4.
You and every single psychologist, social worker out there.
How did
Is
you
that
know
what
I
your
was a
bonus degree?
psychologist?
Bonus degree is?
Take a look.
What
No.
is your real job besides commentating
That's a
and
great
curling?
question,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it is. I think so.
I'm a man of many paths, my dear.
Uh-huh.
I've been in the marketing world, I've been in the sales world, and currently in the client success world for an incredibly beautiful company called All-in-One Accounting.
Very cool.
So I run the client success side as a director of client success, building out an incredible program for a company that helps out small businesses, entrepreneurs, and nonprofits
We love to see it.
with all of their accounting needs.
Everybody needs that kind of support.
Getting that bottom line green.
You know it.
I didn't know you're a customer success type person. That's cool. I need to build that department in my business. actually.
Well,
Betzold calling hard for line here, and Randy Peterson is trying to deliver. Looks like it might be curling just a little bit. They can get a piece of it and hopefully roll in. Boom, just a little
a little
bit.
bit too much.
A little bit too much juice, but it will hang around.
No, it
No.
doesn't. It does not.
Manayan with some great sweeping from the other team manages to
good
sweep
at
it out
left
and
side, so
prevent
I
that
can't
red
have
from
good
being
at
a
zero.
biter. So it's still technically in play because it didn't cross the back line. But scoring-wise, it doesn't really mean much because it doesn't count.
But yes, videography, voiceover, announcing. Fun fact, I was almost the announcer for the Timberwolves.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a finalist for the Timberwolves.
Very fascinating.
The in-arena announcer.
Arena.
You could have said something about Nas. You could have had a cool call about Nas Reed or whatever.
Yeah, not the play-by-play guy.
In your audition tape, did you do intros to different players?
Yep.
Which players did you choose?
Oh gosh, I can't remember. It was a script that they gave you.
Oh,
Yeah.
you couldn't freestyle.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Here comes
now
the delivery
coming
from
into the
Skip
arena, your
Mewers.
Minnesota Timberwolves.
She's calling it a little
That'd
bit
have been a
wide
fun
here.
Yeah, both of
Looks
you.
like a nice draw weight. Calling for line.
Boy, they're working
he's
hard on
scraping
that.
hard.
Though.
Yeah.
I
need
did
another
see a
broom
stone
down.
the other day where the thrower jumped
Yes,
in
yes.
and all four of them swept the heck out of that stone.
Yeah, I heard a
Oh,
call.
that's a beautiful
I heard
slow
a call
down
was
there.
all
Good
sweep.
non-sweep. Yeah.
An all sweep call.
Gorgeous.
Good non-call.
Very hard, very, very hard to get a double there unless you're a pro. Let's see what Betzold and Schimmel are going to do with it now.
Well, I think the only way you can get a double here is if you don't stick around, which could be the best opportunity
I
for
mean,
him
they
rather
could
than
blank
laying
an end
one.
and then
Yeah.
keep
yeah.
hammer going into the,
No.
well,
You can try
going
it.
into the
You
seven.
don't like this? You like this better?
Well,
Because we want hammer in the
I mean, they'd have to make it though. Let's
Yeah.
try
But
this.
he does have 2 stones left, so he can hit and roll.
He could, yep.
Oh no.
Hide
probably
behind.
actually.
Betzold's draws
that's
have
what
been
I
pretty
like.
good. He's been practicing
curled a lot
really
of
hard the last few weeks. And he had the team up here on Sunday here at St. Paul before the ice makers shut everything down to start working at it. The whole Betzold team met up here to practice on the ice one last time.
Hit and roll.
Benefits of being the home club.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we've got the gripper flipped over and getting ready to deliver the first skip stone.
Control.
Team Betzold. He's calling control weight, telling his sweepers to be ready to do their math as they walk next to that stone.
Yeah, even down weight would be good too.
Oh, it hit.
That looks heavy.
Looks like it's going to curl a lot.
It's gonna curl way in.
It's
Look
actually
at
going
that
to come
go.
over. It's going to cross the
Yeah.
line. They might want to try and for this top stone.
Maybe, yeah.
They're going to get
And
that.
then
They're
roll
going to get a
down
piece
for
of that.
Sure, yep. And
Roll it, roll it, roll it.
get in there, Randy. Get in there.
See, that's plan C right there. And that
Okay.
turned out really good for
That
him,
was very
actually.
nice, and that could, from up here, it looks like it could be a freeze. Who knows? You only
It's
really know
close
unless
enough
you're
for a
standing right
freeze.
over it.
Yeah, it's close enough for
Blow
it.
up or what?
Those air pockets, as I was talking about earlier, can be quite strong.
They are. It is like locking them together.
What?
And this one shoots out. We just have to have another one sitting.
It's kind of like
Is that
making
why
an
not
80-pound.
Because if he
Yeah,
wall
if
that
you've
you have
ever
to run
wanted,
into versus
so
a
if people are
40.
looking at it on the screen and going, well, I could pick that up. No, you cannot. These things are 44 pounds each. We have one on our
I don't know
fireplace
what angle we're gonna come at it, you know what I mean?
stoop
Like,
at
it's-
home.
It's a very precise
Because
shot.
Chicago Curling Club, the club that we first learned to curl at, was auctioning off their own
Somewhere else in
old
the
stones to
booklet?
pay for new stones. So we have yellow number 17 from God knows where. And anyone that comes over the house and says, oh, I could curl, I could
Maybe
lift it up. Because
more?
you watch old videos where they
No,
do
this
the
way?
ring back
Oh,
curl
yeah.
and then let go like you're
Oh, yeah.
bowling. Gosh, the biceps and triceps on those guys to pick it up. We say, all right, go pick that up. But
I
do
just
it
wonder how
outside so
much-
it's not on the hardwood floor.
How much the ice had gotten damaged from
So where
people
would you
doing
guys
it. You know what I
want it?
mean?
Gosh, yeah. But if you
corner
watch the
frozen to
control
us,
where
we're
they lift it
sitting.
and then put
If
it
he
back
hits
down
that
and then
one,
go,
Like, if I have another one
It's
sitting.
still got to be breaking it up just a little
Yeah.
bit, you know, like
oh, if I was an ice maker, I'd cringe every time.
What did they
First
decide to
shot,
throw?
He's second shot.
They're
they're
still debating.
debating.
That's what I was saying. If we sit two, so I was thinking on the other side of the button. But do I go from this direction?
Oh, now she's bringing
Yeah,
in the
I do
front
too.
end, which could be dangerous or it could be helpful. Generally, the front end and the back end tend to stay separated. If David and
What are we doing, Jaw?
play on the same
So,
team,
we're not
we need to be
sitting on the rim.
separated.
What are
I'll
we
be front end,
doing?
he'll be back end.
Yeah, you wanna be
Otherwise,
over
we'll get
there.
into a squabble the whole time.
I think a lot of couples are like that, actually.
Mhm. But then the Vissers, who are also playing
What
in
are
this
you- are you
tournament,
still dry?
they
No, I
are
don't
Skip
wanna
and
double
Vice,
up.
husband
So
and
lighter is
wife,
better,
respectively.
a little bit.
So
Yeah.
sometimes it works out with the right personalities. And having played on their team, it generally works. But
I used to sub in on Dennis and Meg Abraham's team in mixed doubles, or mixed, not just mixed, Friday mixed. And
here comes Mewers.
Pizza
Let's see what she's going to do.
there's a lot of arguing between the two of them.
Where is it?
What,
How about friendly
Hey.
debate?
I think, whoa.
That is.
Whoa.
it's like a Bob Ross happy accident.
Whoa.
It
We're
could-
going to draw a
it
happy
could-
little
it could
tree
tap
over
their
here.
red, right?
Yeah, I think they're just looking to
I
get
think
some
that's what
separation.
They're doing. They're trying to draw in.
Yeah, I don't think that's what they
for-
wanted,
That was
but
interesting.
Dear Manaya, that was interesting. She's not
Yeah.
wrong.
That's a double now, and they can sit two.
Roll.
Betzold, I'd say, is about 70-30 on his doubles, accuracy-wise.
Well, this is close
His draws
enough
have been
where-
really good this tournament.
what about his hits? If
Oh,
you just said
yeah.
straight old hit.
Betzold is a
Yeah.
decent hit.
Yeah,
yeah, well
sure.
then, if he's a good hitter, he'll get this.
yeah. If you can hit nose,
Then what
that's
is
a double.
Schimmel arguing about? Let's listen.
I mean,
Yeah.
it has to be.
Do you want firm then? Do you want normal?
Normal's fine.
Yeah, let's do normal. I don't know how much it's going to curl off center.
No, they're opting for the hit. They're going to go normal here, and all you need to do on this shot is hit it right on the nose. Even if you're just off to the left a little bit, you have a lot of room to play with since the stone is.
really
almost
important.
biting
This
on
is
it.
Betzold's hammerstone. If he makes this,
Yeah, this changes the game
they can
for
take
him.
it two for
Yeah,
sure.
nose,
If they
just
don't,
right in nose.
It keeps him in the game if he makes it.
absolutely.
Clean this guy good because it kicked last time.
Interesting. So you might have heard Betzold say that he's going to clean that rock really well because it picked last time. Picking infers that there is a blemish or a divot somewhere in the ice that could affect the trajectory of the stone.
Or
Obviously,
a piece of material that is stuck underneath or on the sheet itself.
So that also explains why they brush and they mop and they sweep the ice during the halftime and at the beginning. That is a nice takeout weight. Needs to curl. Randy Peterson getting in there to move it over. Gonna get one for sure.
Too thin.
Okay.
But he hits the yellow and he gets 2.
Beauty.
Very nice work by Skip
Unintentional,
Betzold.
almost triple.
Now it's a ball
Works
game.
out well for
It
him.
is Mewers is still up 5-3, but that is a much closer ball game going into the 7th. And so see what happened there. Mewers gave Betzold a high five and said, "Nice shot," even though they are playing against each other, even though this is kind of for honor, glory, S&Gs. The spirit of curling is appreciating what your opponent does well, minimizing what they do not so well. We're all in this together, and it's about the love of the game. Curling rule number 4, play for the love of the game, not to humble your opponent.
Or she was doing some juju and, giving them the,
Maybe, but
Maybe it was the gummies.
Maybe those gummies. Well, when I went down there during our little halftime break, Betzold's team was on those Nerds gummies, like I said, and Mewers' team is on those gummy worms. There's a secret here we could all learn from.
Yeah. I was looking for the word voodoo. I couldn't think of it. I was like, maybe she gave him the voodoo juju.
If she was from New Orleans, that would make more sense. I don't know about California. I've never been. Farthest west I've been, I was in Portland, Oregon for a conference once.
First stone being delivered here in the 7th end. We've got 2 ends to go here. We now have a game back once again from 4 down. They are now 2 down going into the 7th end. Despins comes out.
Looking at the other sheets, it looks like it's pretty close, except for poor sheet 3 over here. And I think they shook. I think they called it. My heart says I want it to be a blowout, because I care about the people playing. But my brain does appreciate a nice, solid game. Despins with that positive release. Might have given it a little too much juice.
I will say
easy for Mewers to sweep right on out and eliminate his first lead stone.
On day 3, it's nice to have a blowout game so you get a little R&R time. So you're not playing those down-to-the-wire games, sweeping your butt off.
Unless you're a team like this where it just, and that could be, over there on sheet 3, like I said, that conceded after the 6th end. They might have to play tonight at 8 p.m. And they were probably like, you know what? We're already in. It doesn't matter. We'll shake and then literally shake it off and then come at it again.
Valid.
Strategy doesn't let me know when you California. Excellent. Minnesota doesn't have anything as fun. Minnesota is expected to be a curling state.
Curlifornication.
Yeah, I believe that. I was promised some singing.
California curltion.
It's Red Hot Chili Peppers, right?
Yeah, Californication,
hot
but California curltion.
What are we, like radio DJs now?
Yeah, we were beatboxing
We're
earlier,
shot
Chris
jocks.
and I.
I heard. You also got way under the McGurk effect.
Way under.
Which is when I said, you know what? Glad that I'm coming up there.
I think people want to know about the McGurk effect. That's what I say.
Get in the comments if you care or know about the McGurk effect.
Do they even
As
know?
Brennan Lee Mulligan would say.
They weren't on,
get in the comments.
If they weren't on before, they don't know the relation to why, because the last name of the skip is McGurk. And as we were trying to find out more information about Mr. McGurk, we found out that there was a McGurk effect.
And then I later found out that someone's broom had gotten cracked by an other stone. And we missed that whole discussion.
Yeah.
Gonna clip that edge, and is it gonna knock itself out? It will, but now we have a totally blank house.
Actually,
do you think Mewers will go for the blanked end here to keep Hammer going into the 8th?
I would say that's a very good strategy. Absolutely.
For those of you who aren't used to curling, blanking an end is not scoring on purpose. Because remember, Hammer goes to the team that didn't score the end before. And Hammer is the last shot thrown. So
it-
blanking here in the 7th would mean that you get to keep the last shot thrown for the last end, which would be the 8th end. So that is another thing to consider. If you see a number hanging nowhere on the scoreboard but below or to the side of it, that means they blanked. No score happened, and they're just kind of hanging out there.
which they could have gone and used that as a guard because you cannot hit because the 5.
Yep, free guard
Stone,
zone.
yep.
Yep. Basically, the second can do whatever they want, but the 2 leads have to play nice and hit up all their free guards. But if you've got a lead that throws a little over, that goes out the window, and it's open season.
Yes!
And yes, Arn for sweeping. It looks like it might hit it head on, so they're going to hope it stays
No, it's
put.
going to get a piece. It's going to go out.
And it's going to go out. Betzold in there to sweep it out, and we're back to a blank end here. A blank house, I mean. The end's not over. So for those of you who aren't familiar with curling, you see that the opposite team can step in if a stone crosses the middle line. The other team's skip can, quote, mess with it. So I have seen skips taking a stone that is crawling just past the button and can sweep it all the way out of the house.
I don't touch it.
Betzold doesn't want his sweepers on it at all.
I think we're class P.
Yeah, it needs to slow way down in order to stay even close to the 4-foot. Mewers ready, as I just said, behind that center, behind that tee line to mess with it. She doesn't get much of it. It is biting the 4-foot, mostly in the 8-foot. Still in play. And I bet you money she's going to call for it to be taken out. She's patting her belly, which means she wants a center guard or right down the center. Here's delivery from Alex Eaton-Salners. He also has 2 8-unders in him.
Yep, curl, hard curl, hard curl, hard curl, all the way, you got it, keep going. Yep, nice.
On the
Hit
nose, sticking
and
around
a,
now.
and very nice. That was a direct transfer for those of you that paid attention in physics in high school. Couldn't be me. My husband took aerospace engineering for fun, astrophysics, because he needed 1 more physics credit. So I just asked him all my questions. But that was a direct transfer of kinetic energy. Yellow knocked into red, knocked it all the way out, and then stayed perfectly put right in that 4-foot ring.
Holy rigatoni.
Yes, fine.
Ooh, rigatoni sounds good.
So good. Especially at the Italian spot right next to the St. Paul Curling Club.
Yeah, St. Paul is a beautiful gastropub eatery area. And same kind of thing, hit a little bit of a roll, still in the 4-foot. And here is that hit game. I put a rock in, you take a rock out. And then looking over here on sheet 6, we have a little bit more clogged house. Sheet 1's a little more open. Every skip has their own way of wanting to do things, and it depends. If you figured out that the team is more of a draw team, you don't want to give them that much space. You want to clog up the front with a lot of guards. If they're less of a draw team, you don't want to give them opportunities for hits. Hit, again, another direct transfer, just taking its place. Kind of like taking a pawn in chess and moving right to that same block.
Hit.
That's what's calling for the hit and taking it out, which, you know, is all he can really do right now. There's not much else hanging around for him to do.
Well, keeping them in there now, that's going to give them the opportunity to score 1 at the end if they keep on playing this back and forth game. And it's hard to steal 2, extremely hard to steal 3. And that's where it looks like they're playing at here.
It's a little heavy.
All right.
Yeah, I suppose if they were a little bit closer, they'd probably try to get them to force them, right? You know, if there was like a tie game or maybe even 1-point game.
No, Betzold wants the hammer going into the 8th, but
Well, yeah.
That's why they
Still.
would force. That's why I'm saying the force.
yeah, I mean, being down by 2 isn't the worst, but it's not the best either. Yeah, this is takeout weight from Hurst here. Get your hand off the ice. Thank you. And a right hit out. Little bit of a roll, but still taking the same spot.
Go 1 hit and then a freeze. Or do you want to freeze now?
All right, Schimmel and Betzold in their little debate.
Freeze now.
If we freeze, we're going to give up 2 and the game's over.
Let's hit one more.
He's
Let's
not
hit.
wrong.
Here.
We could also just give the blanks too. But I don't
I
know.
want to watch out for this scrape.
I wouldn't worry about that. We've swept over that pass a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a weird choice, like blank or force them to 1. It's like,
Okay. Keep hitting.
I guess trying to get them to blank would be better. Although
Control,
if they blank it, then I mean if they have an open 1, then they go up by 4, right? No, up by 3.
Right, they'll by 3.
Yeah, so that
Right,
I
so
would
we don't want to
I would
blanket.
score, but
Or
but
we
if
would
they
blanket, if anything.
that's there's no other option. I mean, because if they force it, that's 1 2. They do a force, so it's like
Like
almost
Betzold said, if we do that, it's game over.
yeah. But
He understands.
Line.
Calling for line. Interesting. Betzold was calling for sweepers to go. Schimmel was calling for sweepers to not go. So then it depends, who do you defer to? Who's holding the broom or who threw the rock, depending on who Vice and Skip are here.
The skip is normally the fallback.
But he's seeing it from behind going
Right.
away from him, whereas
Right.
the Vice is seeing it come
Yeah.
towards him.
Yeah, that's all about the relationship, the communication that's there.
Right, and that comes to having a very good relationship of trust in your skip
See it on the rock?
and your Vice,
Yeah. So if you force them to 1, you're going to be going down 3.
which is
Into the 8th, which-
really stressful going into
yeah,
the
but if
8th.
they're not, I mean, I guess you would blanket if you were Mewers.
Well, that's what I was trying
Yeah.
to say
If
earlier.
you were
It's-
Mewers,
it's-
absolutely blanket.
It's hard to steal 2, but it's also hard to score 3. My point. So it's kind of like pick your
It looks
poison.
like they're trying to pick it out here. That's takeout weight. It's going to curl in.
Straight.
And that.
Nice sweep. Good shot.
But I mean, I could see Mewers.
Betzold has
just
another
pulling,
skip stone, and
getting
so
the-
does Mewers.
Getting the 1, going for 1 at the end. I could see them
So
doing that.
Betzold
No,
freezes
absolutely.
right on the button to Mewers' current stone.
She was right behind you.
Like we're both doing
Well, I
that.
guess what is his other option? Because Mewers has hammer.
Yep.
So it looks like Betzold's going to try and draw in, maybe knock her out of the way. But then she's going to knock him out of the way and take the force of 1. They have nothing. They have no other options.
They could peel it.
They could. All right, here he goes. Betzold delivering his last stone. He thinks the line is good. Vice Jerry Schimmel is calling for curl, so Tyler Despins is getting in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gonna
They'll roll out.
hit, roll,
Oh, they did roll out. They're hanging out the outside there.
hanging out in the 8 foot there. So now Mewers could either take that out and just take the 1 or draw straight to the button. If she's better at hits, she'll just do a direct takeout. This is her last stone here in the 7th.
Hit, blank is fine.
Hit blank is fine. You
Not
heard it
blank
from
is fine.
Mewers herself.
Yeah. Either way, they're in the control
Either way, they have the
position.
advantage.
Yeah. If they hit, they go up 3. If they
If they don't, they retain
blank,
hammer.
They retain hammer. Yep, and they're up 2. So that's right. Stealing 2 is very tough. I think I'd rather go in having to score 3 than have to steal 2.
I agree.
Line. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Dave?
No.
Could it be wide? No, they're going to get a corner of it for sure.
They might roll out though.
And
that's
a
out.
blank is what she wanted. She's happy with that.
That's the best scenario for them.
That's the best worst case for
Yeah.
anybody. So I was talking about blanks earlier. When no one scores in an end, as you'll see, the official's going to take that 7 and hang it somewhere else off the board.
Noise.
Mewers from California is still up 5
Oh
to
my
3
God, we blanked.
to Betzold here, the representing team for St. Paul Curling Club,
Good job.
the lovely host for this year's 5 and Under National Championships. If you're just tuning in now near the end of the game, 561 teams from all over the country played in qualifiers all over the country to try and qualify for one of the 24 spots to be in this tournament. So as trite as it sounds, making it was the best part. Of course you want to do well,
Absolutely.
but they really did have to fight tooth and nail to get here. 24 out of 561. Every team here should be very, very proud of themselves.
I wonder which team competed in the most Bonspiels. Because I know a number of them did a lot of, that was how they kind of trained, is doing a lot of Bonspiels.
Right.
Which is doing Bonspiels is fun, but it's also a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, a lot of
yeah.
time, a lot of money, a lot of
Yep.
travel. I know Betzold here was trying to qualify with Canfield from his alternate from the team he was on last year in Charlotte. He was in Nashville. He went to Phoenix as a free agent. He was at Fort Wayne.
Holy
at Stevens
cow.
Point. He was all over the place. Well, it helps. Betzold's an electrical engineer that is a contractor, so he sets his own hours. So
like
if he wants
Johnny
to go
Cash
to
of curling.
basically, if he wants to go try something, he can try something.
He's been everywhere, man.
Basically.
He's been everywhere.
And then there's
They
other
say
teams where
Chaska
they're
in
trying to
that
keep
song,
all
don't
and they're trying to keep all 4 of them together. That makes
Yeah.
it a little hard to play together in all these qualifiers. Everyone's schedule has to line up just right.
How do you form a team if if does 2 or 3 people on the team have had to have done the qualifier, if you qualify.
If you qualify, 3 of the 4 original players have to be on that team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because otherwise you
So-
could have people bringing in ringers here
Exactly.
and there.
So, for example, when Betzold qualified for 5U Nationals last year, he was on Grant Peterson's team, James Grant Peterson's team at Cincinnati. They won the Cincinnati qualifier, and it was the 3 of them, and then they had Will Myers out of San Francisco, who was their 4th, and he was one of the 4, but he actually qualified with his own team. So the Grant Peterson team found another for their 4th. You have to have 3 of the original qualifying team in order to keep it for nationals. They understand that not all 4 are necessarily going to be able to be here.
Well, we are in the nitty-gritty of this match here as we have the second stone from the lead from Team Betzold. Making their way in here. They're going to do a little tap back here on the yellow.
And hide behind their guard. Very nicely done by Tyler Despins. Lovely lineup there. Although Mewers' team has shown that they are very good drawers. But, however, it's nice. It's nice to look at.
Your lead now. Poised to deliver. Very nice delivery. They call hack. They Skip calls it to a wide a little bit. Calling him off still. As the outside sweeper now. Digging in to try and make the stone curl a little bit more. It's coming in hot. Getting the stone out of play.
And it's across the tee line, and Betzold is sweepity, sweeping. And it did not roll back around the abider. So the house is now blank once again.
Did you say sweepity, sweepity?
Yes. So that's sweepity with 2 P's, and then sweebity with 2 B's. It's like bibbity bobbity boo, but sweepity, sweep.
Like
One's got more
That's
magic.
that's what they taught me at
Bippity Boppity Boo
Northwestern.
has a lot more magic. Than
That's what I learned at
Tippity
Northwestern.
Tippity.
How to
Doesn't it?
more or less magic.
Yeah.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Thank you. Oh.
So they're trying to draw it in. I think it's a little too spicy. Whoa is right, and it will.
Well, it's going to sit on the button, but
settle, and then
wide
she's just going to go
open.
yoink.
Yeah.
Mewers, you saw, tapped it and threw her broom right back. That means cut it out.
I did not see the delivery. I don't know how it ended up so far out there, if he pushed it out or if he had the broom call that far out. I don't know why he would not hide behind his own redstone, but maybe he's calling for the...
I don't know. I missed it, too.
Yeah.
I was too busy defending my sweepity. It's a personal problem. I understand this. And that is straight on in. Looks like a direct transfer. Not even a hit and roll. Just
No, it's going to roll.
Boink and a little bit out, but Betzold can't touch it yet. There you go. Because it's right on that tee line.
I still think he needs a draw behind. Otherwise, they're playing that hit game and they keep on losing stones.
Yeah.
You got to get something in play.
Get there from this way. So I like this.
Yeah, I like what he's saying there.
Yeah,
I think
he's right.
choosing
He's got the right call. Giving Peterson a nice solid broom. He's not confident on Peterson's draws. Now he's checking the time.
fine now.
We have 5 minutes. You
We're
want
like
to talk?
really good now, though.
We have 5 minutes. Do you want to talk? So each
I wanna
team
leave it there,
has
though.
1 timeout.
Yeah, for Neil.
And they're not
I
taking
wanna
their
leave it
timeout.
there.
They know that they've been playing a pretty quick
There's
game.
nothing in the house.
So we either freeze to it, which I don't know if we can.
You
They're
love
not
it.
taking a
we can
timeout.
do
They're just taking
No.
their time.
No, I know.
So
I
it'd be
get
really
really
tight.
distracted
So I
with
think
my
we
son,
gotta go
but-
here.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that too.
Or
I,
even
I,
up
I
here.
personally think that's the call. Freezing 2 is very
The only thing is
hard.
if
That
they
is
do
maybe
anything
one of the
with
most
this,
difficult shots
Is,
in
but then they can
curling.
easily just do like a tap up, tap out. If they hit it just right,
Okay.
they can blast out both the red and the yellow and keep
there.
their yellow there.
That's what I'm saying. So
Right,
being able to
So
have
hiding
your red
behind
stone
that center, that
in,
guard.
yeah,
I don't
that's the
wanna
It's not a
call.
center guard, but it is
Yeah.
a nice guard.
Freezing is always a great thing to think about as like the best thing to do,
But
but
if
in all
you've got
reality,
other
it's
stuff
the
going on.
it's one of the hardest shots in curling.
Oh, yeah, it
because you
sounds
have
really good.
to-
You look at it on paper and you go, well, that's the call. But unless you do it professionally,
yeah.
how reliable and realistic
Coming down
is it?
2 is freezing versus freezing are 2 different things.
Yeah. On paper.
He is throwing a lot at.
Oh, wow. Peterson's got a nice, yes, looks hot. I agree from Betzold there.
Where?
If these sweepers
If he's
touch
trying-
it, they're
Where?
in trouble.
I'm confused why if
He's
they want to
asking
get behind
where.
the
So
red
he's
though.
asking his sweepers, where's
no,
it going to stop?
I understand. What I'm saying is, they wanted to hide behind their red,
They're
but he
gonna
gave
knock
Broom all the way out here.
yeah.
So he gave like 4
Okay, they've
foot
done
Broom.
neither. All right, that red is.
I mean, that was the drop path.
So as you can hear him chatting with his vice, that was the draw path, but I don't think he broomed quite right. Broomed a little wide, threw a little wide. For those of you that aren't as familiar with curling, when the skip holds the broom, that is where you're supposed to aim your stone. Just like in baseball, wherever your front foot is placed, that's where the ball's gonna go. Same kind of deal. Nice hard takeout. Boink.
There we go, here.
Nice pocket to live in,
Yeah.
All right,
In the
yeah.
pocket.
That can set you up
Or in
for a
front.
really good opportunity to steal 2, because at a later point in the game, when it's sitting there in the pocket, all you need to do is hit your stone hard enough where it will take out both stones.
Right.
We're getting down to the last 4 stones of the game here. We have the vice throw being thrown by
What was Randy
Team
throwing?
Betzold right now. It's your voice, Jerry Schimmel, getting down in the hack.
Who has come back from a broken wrist last fall, trying out his
touch
brand new
it.
curling shoes. So if you're watching the stream and listening, you want to try curling, just be careful. Just be careful with your stuff.
Where
All
are
right, that looks heavy.
Where?
Betzold asking
Let
his
it work.
sweepers where it's going to land, where it's going to go. That looks,
Needs curl. Curl.
it needs to curl. So Peterson's
It
going
is
to get
the
in
outside,
there. Try
so
to
it
curl
can.
it in.
Curl. Whoa,
Too much
whoa,
weight,
whoa,
though.
whoa,
He's going to
fast.
stay on the
Too
outside.
spicy. Will it flash? Will it get a piece? It'll get a piece of it, but not too much. Schimmel's shaking his head. He's not happy with that.
Sorry about that.
No, and it makes it a lot harder to get those other 2 stones out, too,
Yeah.
because
It
they're
was probably
offset
back
from
to
one
back.
another just a touch.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it shouldn't stay that wide.
Those 2 yellows look pretty even. I don't know. Mewers is. We've got the broom over our head for the raise the roof.
Top 4, I think is like a 405 right now. Yeah?
They all have positives. They throw a lot.
Yeah, I think the call might have been coming from the inside on the opposite side, though. It looks like they had a little bit of hesitancy coming from there, thinking they didn't have enough room with that guard out front.
Okay.
But that outside ice can be so finicky.
I'm impressed that
84!
they are able to sound so relaxed, especially Kira Manai over there. She sounds so relaxed while she's sweeping for her life.
Curl if you can.
Yeah, no, on the previous stone.
Yep. Wow, we freaked out. Okay. Good time.
She said, no, we freaked out.
I mean, we've all been there, homie.
Sorry
We
for
all
freaking out.
I think I actually got to be here. Because if I'm there, they can blast us out.
My rock.
So we got to be there and maybe bump it a little.
What's my rock?
You got rock?
Do you think
Okay.
Betzold has a chance here? Because I'm a little.
It's getting to be that
I'm a little
point where
suspicious
it's going to
where-
be
If he misses
yeah,
this
we need the
shot,
backing, but I don't mind it right now.
would he shake or would he throw his last?
I think best thing
Oh,
you can
I
do
forgot
right
that
now.
the Vice still has another stone.
Yeah, he's got one more.
Schimmel's coming up here.
I think
For those of
I
you
think
who-
giving yourself a little bit of space to kind of create some room, because when they're so tight together, it's hard to create that inertia to make stones move. So if you can come down and tap them apart just a little bit.
Or Schimmel could blow it up there. A head-on run at that front stone, which is 5,
Yeah,
4,
it'll
3.
jam on that one, so it'll be still sticking there. But yeah, there's more
But if he
wind.
hits and rolls in there. See, that's the thing. You gotta be good at geometry.
Hard line.
That is nice and heavy.
He's light, or he's on the inside of it though. They gotta go.
Hard for line, called on both sides. Hitting it on the edge there. Got one. Didn't really do a whole lot for the others. Which, if we listen in, I'm sure is not what they wanted. I wish you could see what the clock was.
Yeah, they're talking right now, but can't hear them.
Next shot, but what do you want to do?
Okay, wait, let's go.
I'm surprised nobody's called for timeout. Both teams have one timeout in the 8 ends here. Neither have taken them.
Betzold has 2 minutes 51.
Sorry,
and
I'm on your side.
Mewers has 3:44,
It's a draw,
43.
same thing?
Thank you, darling.
I figured out halfway through doing all these that I could find the clock on the YouTube stream.
Yeah, I just have the chat here. Get in the comments. Justin McBee was the last one saying that the teams have a mic, which is cool.
Sometimes I've
Otherwise, Jason and I just listen to ourselves talk, and God knows what we'll get into there.
Betzold's team doesn't deserve to be here. Trying to Mr. Bootleg.
Ouch.
Interesting. So if that is in reference to the fact that St. Paul had playdowns
No, it's not hot.
and Betzold's team wasn't necessarily league play members but super sub members, here at St. Paul they do have a super substitute fee where you can play similar dues to a regular member. And when you substitute on a team, you can play any position, whereas a regular sub can only play lead, which makes sense. You don't want to have an unfair advantage in league play.
I think I got to wedge this here, actually.
However,
Then she just
Betzold
bumped
and his
that.
team
What's
did
the time?
check with the 5U
I think it's
organizers. There we go. They're calling their timeout. Betzold did check with the 5U organizers to make sure that their team was still eligible, and they were. And apparently some people from St. Paul did not appreciate that. So there was there was much debate with Betzold making it as the St. Paul qualifier, even as they won those playdowns due to eligibility concerns, but were eventually determined by the board, as well as USA Curling, that they were in fact eligible to represent St. Paul.
If we're nose, I don't think we're
So
shot.
that comment is
Maybe if we
understandable,
bump this back
but
here and
still
sit,
unfounded at this
that gives
point in
us space
time.
to clear it, but it might jam.
Well, let's.
I didn't know there was that much backstory. I just
we gotta
thought there
talk
was.
about 2 shots too.
Yeah,
so.
that's good.
if we go here and clear these,
And roll here.
Because remember, those
Go
playdowns
here.
happen over the
I mean, we're
course of
giving her
a
a
few
4 foot
months
for
here
the
at
win
St.
then.
Paul.
on our last.
So,
On their timeout, let's hear what they have to say.
yes.
yeah. Well, here we could do here, roll to here.
Yeah, if we can get there. I don't know if we can fit a stone through there. It's tight.
Oh yeah, stone will go right through.
Okay. So we get over here. That's blocked.
Schimmel's confident they can thread that needle.
Okay, we got a minute. I don't mind the hit to get some space here. We're sitting here, but then she just blasts
She
that.
does that, but she's got to make it, and if she makes it, then
Yeah.
if she makes that and spills,
Well, we can fit 2
Justin
rocks in here. and
McBee
it's
says
just
the
hard
hit
at
and
these
roll
angles
behind the
right now.
guard likely also gets them a
So,
double.
Yeah, I think if we
Got a point
bump
there.
this down here and sit here.
this
Wait,
is
I-
our shot, and I like it pretty hard.
I like it. It's hard. but
No, I like it like normal.
Yeah, fine. I like it.
All right.
I think it curls.
They all like it.
Yeah, this line curls. All right.
Gotta be over nose.
Okay, normal, and we got to be over nose.
All right.
Got to be over nose. We've got our skip making his way back to the hack right now.
A good time for Betzold to take their time out. There's really no other time other than in the 8th end like this. Mewers still has both of their skip stones left. This is Betzold's first skip stone. As recall, they blanked the 7th end, so Mewers kept hammer. So they have the last word. Nice
Looks
and
a
heavy.
little narrow.
Yes. Yes.
Betzold
fine.
likes it. He's saying yes. Peterson sweeping away
Looks
for
narrow.
line.
He's going to clip it. And he does. But
Okay.
they are still in play.
So if you were Mewers, you'd set up a guard for that nice center yellow question mark.
Here.
And that's what they're
What you
discussing
don't
now.
want to leave is you do not want to leave a double opportunity. But
I could
Mewers
also just try to
has
take this one
the
out.
advantage with the
I'll have one
hammer.
more rock.
Of course they
Couldn't
do.
they just take the red out and then the game would be over?
It would be.
I guess that might jam, though, eh?
And Mewers is now taking their timeout.
That would be game if the redstone is displaced from the house.
I mean,
They do have
theoretically,
a double,
the
yep.
one way up
So I
top,
would just take this.
you know, it's still in play.
Do we
But
just take this one?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
You would
over,
be a
right?
magician.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
But like, let's just talk.
Let's,
Yeah. Would we do inside out or would we do outside in?
outside in.
Outside in?
Yeah, but like here, 'cause it's pretty straight, right?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Yep.
Here?
Yeah. Control out here.
Hi, Neil.
Bye,
That's
Neil,
exactly what they're
again.
calling for now.
Good timeout.
Put
yeah,
the
but
nail
you know
in
the
the
risk.
coffin.
The risk
Here?
about that is if
Are
you
you sure?
miss it, then
Okay,
it's
so
an
we're
easy
on the
deuce.
inside.
You know, you just
No, they
'Cause
have
if
they have
we
hammer.
nose it, we're
Oh.
jamming.
I don't
Yeah,
want to
so
jam.
they
I
have
know,
two
that's what I mean.
I think
stones.
hitting this side is better.
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess we could do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this okay? Okay. Bye.
I do always, as a player, get so hesitant on throwing on the outside, especially for
Yeah.
a hit,
yeah.
because of how much a stone can just fall off the board.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It can go the opposite way for sure, particularly on the edge sheets here in St. Paul.
All right. So this shot by Mewers will likely decide the game.
Yep, while you're gone, they took their time out to discuss, and they opted for the hit, which if this is a successful hit, it is going to be game over.
Looks nice and solid, strong weight. Nice and centered. They've got
Line.
this.
Line.
Unless there's a jam, but it's looking like it won't be the case. That's going to be game over. Congratulations to Team
Very nice
Mewers.
job, Team Mewers
Team
here.
Betzold fought back hard. Dropping the 2 there to make it a game once again.
For a second, I was like, no way.
So handshakes at one with one rock leaving. Mewers over Betzold.
Handshakes all around. Nice work. And I know that there'll be some great broom stacking up here on the second level of the historic St. Paul Curling Club.
I like that chest. I like it when people hit you on the chest like that. Like, that's good. That's good. So Sarah, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. It's been
Jason,
my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks
y'all.
for being here for 2.
1,000%, sir.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
And we'll be signing off. We'll be back again at 8 p.m. tonight for the semifinals. I don't know which game will be on Sheet 5, but it will be a good one. And I encourage you all to come into the chat. Cheers.
Take care, y'all.
Take
Good
care.
curling, everyone.